Jazz around like an ocean in my head. I can almost feel you walking in the distance, but I know that it's not reality. If you are echoing around inside these parallel dimensions all alone, no,
Right then, hello everyone and welcome back to the World Grand Prix, and this time around it is the quarter-final stage that we're going to be watching, and it is Chris Wakelin against Zhao, the players that haven't really met against each other since the Saudi Masters at the start of the season, where of course it was the campaign to remember, and after defeating Zhao in the last 16, Chris Wakelin got on to be the semi-finalist before losing out to the eventual runner-up, Ronnie O'Sullivan, but a lot has changed since then, Zhao was probably been quite underwhelming as a reigning world champion, and certainly had his bad moments. We all remember that exit in the UK Championship against Zhao, but he still had some great matches to perform for himself. He had, of course, win against Wakelin at the Shanghai Masters this season that got him into the semi-final, and well, nobody's going to forget that fantastic World Championship performance where Wakelin destroyed Mark Cullen and in the end got destroyed himself by Zhao in the quarterfinals. So there's no doubt it's going to be close there as we see Chris Wakelin to break off. But I genuinely feel like if you've seen what Zhao done to Mark Selby yesterday, being 4-1 down, I mean, I don't think there's anyone on the tour that will give more than 10% of trying to come back from that scenario, and yet he did. Some fantastic clearances and breaks of 140, 120, and it took him 2 goes in the end against Mark, but it is very much Team China dominant as we approach the semi-final stage, and after being asked about it, I really liked Zhao Xingtong's answer from his point of view. Oh, that's going to be a fluke, with the first shot that Wakelin has played, and straight away it is going to be quite fortunate for him. So, of course, not too bad for Zhao Xingtong either, because he's going to have the cue ball to be sent into those reds. And he just goes to the top part of the table, catches the green with a minor contact, but it probably is not going to be enough of a contact for it to be available into its own pocket. So, I think you'll have to wait for another chance here, Wakelin. But yeah, I mean, 3 meetings, 2 wins for Zhao Xingtong, and only 1 of them for Chris Wakelin. All of them come up in 2025. It's probably not a lot of surprise about it, with Wakelin finally bringing himself very much to the top of his game and being a consistent player now at the top 16. Now let's see if he's going to try and get this green into the pocket. He did. And is he going to get the reward for it? Once again, it's going to be very close in terms of him having the access for that red into the right corner. That looks to be the case. But once again, with the previous red that he cannons, very much being close to the black here. Gonna have to wait and see on if it is going to make sense for him to be taking this one on. Because you can't play for the pink, you can't obviously play for the black, so you have to try and send the white through the right side cushion onto the blue, or even the bold colours. So he's going to be taking this red on, and he finds a beautiful gap there. I thought he's going to need to use the side cushion. In the end, he just tries to do it with the pure spin attack, which makes the shot even more impressive because of how deep onto the cue ball he had to go in anyway. And yeah, he's just about gonna be on this blue, so he's very straight. He has got the chance of just trying to leave the cue ball past that blue ball spot and get himself lined up for one of the few reds that he's got available now into the right corner. Hi, good morning. Well, it's good evening, World Grand Prix, but certainly just about good morning, the UK. Oh, I think Wakelin today, really, Zhao gone missing most of the season and Wakelin on a roll. Be close, thanks for very happy. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, no worries about it, but I actually feel like it is a close matchup, and I probably would have said it is going to be 6-5 before I've seen that match against Selby. And as much as it would be very much a Zhao Xingtong thing, where he beats out the top seed and then goes on to lose against players that you actually feel like, certainly on the paper, will be one of the easiest players for him to beat, still remaining in the draw. Of course, we've got Zhao Gudong, the player that is certainly going to be on the roll, defeating the compatriot of Zhao. Zhao doing the same thing against Wu Yize, but yeah, Wakelin's going to lose the cue ball there. It was always a matter of time, so that was going to be the case. And 11 points scored, so not really the points tally that you want to be proud of. But still, it's a good start there for him in terms of just the chance that he had. And it's just all about trying to find a colour to play a safety shot from, basically. He's not going to have a chance to do anything with the black, so just the green to be sent on towards the side cushion. Of course, no tactical thing about it. And it's just all about getting that cue ball to be on the ball cushion. So 11 points scored, and back to the Zhao it goes. And yeah, I mean, we've got Zhang Anda, we've got Zhao Godon, we may have Joey Long and Zhao Xington in the semis. So it could be 4 out of 4 Chinese players that have been an absolute roll, you know, defeating the likes of Watchalong, Karen Wilson, Sean Murphy. All of them have gone away from Chinese players. Ronnie O'Sullivan has to be thrown into the mix. And then you never know. You know, if you defeat the likes of Wakelin and Carter, you could be setting up for the perfect home tournament there. Of course, World Grand Prix held in China, as we still await. So the draw, by the way, has been done for the World Open as well, as Wakelin has got the cue ball to be sent very close to the green pocket. And yeah, he probably should be the next tournament, which features Ronnie O'Sullivan. I mean, it's not going to be technically the next one that he plays in, but is not guaranteed to be in, but at least it's featured in the draw. He's going to have to play his qualifying round against Ross Muir. China on fire, took time, but now all the efforts and practice going through. Yeah, by the way, and I mean, make no mistake about it, I feel like it's a great feeling for snooker because you know, just because of all of them being from my country, it just doesn't mean really anything apart from people from this country obviously having a brilliant academy and working super hard. But yeah, I mean, like, the way that, if you think about all the players that actually got themselves into this position, the way that they play, I mean, Zhao Xington needs no introduction. That was the way that he won the World Championship, which was brilliant, fluent snooker. Then you've got Zhao Godon. I mean, he's certainly not going to be wasting time when he's playing against you. You know, he's had 8 frames against Ronnie O'Sullivan in a brilliant fashion there, making the breaks of 144 in the first frame, which is still probably one of the most incredible breaks that we've seen so far this week. You know, Zhao Wei, under the radar slightly, yes, but still very much in the contention for him to be the dark horse. And then you've got the likes of Weezer, once again, the international championship winner. Zhang Anda, probably one of the slower players, and yet still plays some incredible snooker, very much attacking. And Li Beifan has gone quite quiet, I would say, because of you know, what we probably expected for him after that incredible Scottish Open campaign, as Zhao Xington gets slightly lucky there, playing the safety shot, gets the blue out of the way, and puts it onto the side cushion, which, I mean, didn't really compromise the cue ball. It's still going to be just at the top part of the D, but Wakelin plays a really nice shot, getting that ready to the right corner pocket. So it's another point that he scores, but it's probably going to be another snooker lines up in behind the green. So, yeah, I mean, the fact that we've got the brown and yellow, probably the only 2 colours, as the attacking threat for either one of the 2 players. And also another thing on Wakelin there, I said 5-2 for Zhao Xington, but I feel like the opening couple of frames are going to be super important for Chris, because if he is to win this match, he needs to go on a roll. He needs to try and slow down the pace of the match against Zhao Xington and basically force him to be playing those safety shots all the time. And of course, positions like this probably are going to be the influencer of that, because you're a lot less likely to make a break of 70 points for you to get properly underway than, well, in comparison when you have got the pink and the black very much placed perfectly on the play for you. Now, just trying to play the swerve shot onto the side cushion there, Zhao Xington. Let's see how the pace is going to be judged. And also the line. Oh, the line has gone horribly wrong. And, well, he's going to be really fortunate if he didn't leave anything on there for Chris Wakelin, because I feel like he was trying to catch them from underneath and basically leave the cue ball on the black ball cushion. Instead, he basically gone sideways into them, getting those 3 reds to spread out. But in the end, the third one has gone super close to the cue ball and is going to be blocking any potential access to the yellow pocket there. So let's see what the response from Wakelin is going to be. I still think he's very much capable of winning this match. I actually feel like it is going to be Ali Carter that struggles more. I know it's probably unpopular after he's been the man of the role himself, but I do have a slight feeling that Carter always had the benefit of the draw apart from that match against Ronnie O'Sullivan. You know, I was very surprised that he defeated Mark Cullen. I have to say that, with Wakelin just obviously having a touch and ball. and just sending the cue ball to the top part of the table because I thought that Alan was going to be way too strong for him, but Alan seems to be struggling slightly himself after a brilliant start in the midway point of the season, being the English Open China champion against Zhao, by the way, in that great decider. And incredibly, if you rule out the Area Championship, we're still yet to witness Zhao Xington in a final of a ranking event or one of the big invitational events as well. He's been to a couple of China semi-finals though. He's been in the International Championship where he lost out to Wu Yize, the eventual winner. Then he's done the same thing in the Shanghai Masters as well. Thanks to Wakelin, had a good chance to try and take this red into the right corner. And, well, I thought he was going to get really fortunate, but I think the cue ball is going to be able to get through to these reds. By the way, if I say that Zhao Xington is going to win this one comfortably, I do have a bit of red flags for that to be the case, because so far there's been about 4 chances and all of them gone the way of Chris Wakelin. Morning. Morning, Clayton. And yeah, I mean, something that you have to be very much concerned about for Zhao Xington's point of view is that, not only is it 12 points down to 0, but also he didn't really have any of those chances, and yet Wakelin seems to be the player setting up the pace of this match so far. Zhao Xington, yeah, I mean, as I say, I think if he doesn't win this one, it is going to be the most Zhao Xington thing this season. So I couldn't believe that when he was 4-1 down, I've seen that one as 4-all. So I got on to watch the decider because I thought at 4-1 it was dead. I thought Selby was going to absolutely destroy him, and I thought that before the match started, by the way, because the way that I'm basically saying Wakelin needs to try and slow down Zhao Xington to basically use it as a tactic. Well, that's something that someone like Mark Selby is going to be absolute god at doing. And yet he was able to let that gap of 4 frames to 1 slip away from him. And, ooh, that's a bit of a mistake. Let's see how much of a mistake it's actually going to be. And it's going to be quite a costly one, because he managed to push the black and the pink towards the blue ball spot. And, yeah, it is going to be all 3 reds available here to Wakelin. So this is the first real chance. And you could talk about the safety game, but it's only relevant when your opponent is at the table. When you've got a chance like that, you need to make sure it is going to be frame over. Otherwise, Zhao Xington will be very keen to try and have his break building skills showcased again, which I think Wakelin is going to be very much aware of. Oh, I mean, that's a shocker, that is. That is an absolute shocker from Wakelin, because he's just probably made the compilation of the worst shot being missed, certainly one of the worst shots being missed, into the left middle. I mean, I know for a fact I don't have to worry about the positional play on the black or the pink because I'm going to be on them anyway. So even I, no matter the pressure in the first frame, I'm making that one 7 out of 10. So for a professional to miss that one, it's an absolute shocker, that. And Zhao Xington is going to be able to get the red in, just wants to barge the pink out of the way. And he's going to be alright. He's super tight to the reds, which is going to compromise him a lot. But I feel like he's going to have a chance to go for the pink. No, he doesn't feel like that. So going for the black instead, making the shot slightly more awkward, but should be dropping in. Certainly has done that. Yeah, it's a massive blunder there from Wakelin, and he's going to be very much up to Zhao Xington to try and be in and around the black spot again, and try and make his game to be very much dictated over to Chris Wakelin. Can the Beast cause an upset? He can, but I don't really feel like he's going to be trying to, cause the upset with shots like that being played. And I know I shouldn't focus on it too much, but as I say, he's got around 4 more reds available to him, Zhao Xington, and with the position that he's got, those 4 reds could have been very helpful for Chris Wakelin's points tally. In the end, he's probably very unlikely to win the frame from here, especially, I mean, he's going to be very close on this red into the right corner. And, to be fair, he was playing for another red, that's my bad. Obviously misjudged. No, he was playing for that red, so slightly close there for comfort. I thought the black was going to be in the way of the red closer to the right corner pocket, so then I thought maybe he's going to switch to the one that he's going to play right now after this black. And in the end, he's just taking the more difficult red out of the way first, getting the black to disappear. And so 24 points. He can score around 48 points, I'd say, maybe 46, something like that. And then he's going to try and do something with 5 of the remaining reds that he's got available to him. So let's wait and see what happens. But I think the first frame is going to be a very interesting one. By the way, I was really surprised with the way that the match of Zhao against Marcel was played at. It's such a quick fashion, you know. You barely have a look at it and, you know, 70 or 80 minutes down. And all of a sudden, that's 4 frames finished. That was really impressive. Of course, Selby was on an early roll, which seemed to have been stopped by Zhao. And if you talk about Chris Wakelin himself, he had a decent run in the opening couple of rounds, but I do have to say that he didn't have to cause a massive upset. You know, he's played against Zhao and Elias Lesser. You know, he's really good against Zhao, by the way, because 5-0 whitewash against someone as attacking as no, it's certainly an achievement. And then beating another tough opponent with Elias Lesser in the last 16 certainly deserves a bit of praise. Then we are going to be getting to the more difficult reds, and Zhao doing the most Zhao thing ever. Basically replicated Ronnie O'Sullivan with that miss on the pink previously, and now he's basically got that black to be away from the pocket, and you can see he's played it into the right part of the pocket, but in the end, the pure power, and that he's played that shot with. He's going to make sure that the black is going to be cannoned away. There's going to be opportunity number 2 here for Wakelin. So, of course, the problem for Zhao is, had he made that black in, and he would have been on the red, basically put in with the position of Wakelin, he would have had this frame wrapped up easily. Instead, he's not going to have this frame given away to Wakelin easily, because he is going to be 20 points down. But, yeah, I just feel like a couple of mistakes there from the players. And Wakelin has got 3 reds to try and find his way through, after taking the opening one already. So, I'm not sure he'll need the blue, but he certainly is going to need the green. That he was actually the player to put onto the right side cushion. As he takes another red into the right corner. Well, I say he'll need the green. I feel like he is going to need it because he's 12 points down. It's going to be brought down to, yeah, he's going to need the green no matter what. And now we want to have a good exchange. Yeah, thank you for the message. And I think this is one of the... You know, it doesn't really come across that way, but this is probably one of the matches that I'm really looking forward to, because I know that it is going to be just all of the action-packed, and I don't really massively care about who's going to win as well. I would love Zhao to finally make it into the final and battle for the first to 10 match, because, you know, as much as you could criticize it for losing out to first to 4, first to 5 matches, I do have a feeling that it'll be a slightly different story when he plays those first to 10, although, I mean, I'm not going to ignore the fact that he's played 2 of those matches, basically 2 of them. He's played first to 9 in the semi-final of the International Championship against Weezer, and lost out on 9-6, I think it was. May have been 9-5. And then lost out to Karen Wilson in the semi-final of the Shanghai Masters 2 by 10 frames to 5. And, I mean, that's a mistake there from Wakelin. And he needs to make sure he eliminates all of those before the start of the second frame. That's simply not good enough, missing that brown into the green pocket. You know, he was slightly awkwardly positioned on it on the previous occasion, but still felt like he had the angle to try and definitely get that brown in. Playing for the Reds on the lower part of the table, which he's done a really good job at, but the problem is, this great job is going to be presented to Zhao here. It takes this red, just about rolls it in, obviously didn't try to do anything with the cue ball. And, well, at this stage, he probably just requires Wakelin to be going for the blue as well, which just makes it a really difficult ask there for Chris. And also remember, if this black is taken, which it will be, and needs to miss the pink, and he won't do that, I thought that Zhao might be an actual real threat here to be closing off the frame. Instead, he's going to have a 13 points advantage, and I think he's going to attempt his double into the left middle. To be getting some good tournaments now. Yeah, I mean, like, action-packed, not really best names when you look at the paper, but I think when you've got the setup like that, Zhao Gudon against Chris Wakelin or Zhao, I mean, from the neutral's point of view, that's certainly going to be a really fun match to be watching. Now it's Wakelin that is going to have a look at the reds at the top part of the table, as he can't get through to it. He's going to have to try and use the other red. May have the ability to get that cue ball to be lined up in behind the black. That's what he's tried. Didn't really manage to play the shot as well as he could have. And in the end, it's probably very likely to give away both of these reds for the safety shot there to be played. From Zhao Xingtong's point of view. That's something that Xingtong is going to be very much aware about. Trying to make sure he doesn't leave any one of these reds over the left corner. And as I say, I mean, he's played this one close to the middle, but just about close enough to the side cushion as well. Needs that cue ball to be pretty much alongside the red to make sure it's not going to be a cross double attempt, and he's done that. So nicely judged. Not sure that was the exact thing that he was playing for. I think he was more focused about just trying to get that red to be onto the side cushion, and if that's the case, you don't really have to worry about the cue ball positioning massively. But it's a smart shot there from Wakelin, as long as that red is not going to go over the middle, which it will. But it's still a really difficult shot for Zhao Xingtong to be taking on. The reason why I said it's a smart shot, because he basically cannoned that red into the green, got that one away from the side cushion, and had he managed to get that red into the safe spot as well, it would have basically a shot to nothing for him to try and develop the colour that he will desperately need. But Zhao Xingtong, he gets the red in, which is a great achievement there, make no mistake about it. But he's going to be very awkwardly placed on the pink. And, he doesn't really have a good chance to try and lay a snooker in behind. So now he needs to put his math skills to the test. And doesn't need the pink to be taking on here, because, he probably, if he doesn't have any better shot to play, then he may as well take it, as, the pink is not going to be the red. You're not going to leave it all in the pocket. And he's got no chance of actually playing for that red. And in the end, he's gone for the pink. He's missed it, but yeah, he's going to be, once again, a battle for the red in between the two players. Wakelin trying to judge the contact of hitting the cue ball into the ball cushion first. And then just trying to leave the cue ball there. Have the red to bounce away onto the side and bring it back down the table. So for now, just play with a bit of power there. And, well, you can see what he was trying to do. Get that cue ball to be behind the green and the yellow. And it's a decent effort. But in the end, he has probably left this red for a potential long pot there, which is not going to compromise Zhao Xingtong with any chance at all. Because that cue ball was going to be heading to the top part of the table anyway. Although, I do have a feeling that he's trying to hit this one slightly too thin on the edge. And that certainly was a wrong feeling about it. And now, this is going to be quite interesting. But it's probably going to be the same situation as he found himself with the previous red. But this time, he can try and get the snooker in behind the black. There's no real chance to get on the yellow from this pink, which could have easily been potted. But because he gave him 6 points instead of a potential for a frame-winning number of points, because of, the yellow position is going to be quite difficult to hit. But also, if you miss it altogether, you're very lucky not to leave a free ball out there. Because of, if you catch the green and you make it out of the way, that's probably going to be fine for you. But if you touch the brown and make it on the left part of the yellow, you're always going to leave that free ball. And that's what happens. But I do actually realise there's no point taking the free ball on from here, because, he could have just taken the pink anyway from that point of view. So he's just going to try and get the points that he needs there, Zhao Xingtong. Of course, he's just got 4 of those. So now the distance is 19 points, so 27 at the table. And let's have a look. Wakelin seems to be happy with the cue ball placement straight away, which, credit to the referee. Once again, off the side cushion onto the bulk. And he somehow managed to find a gap in between the yellow and the brown. And he's done it again there, so twice in a row. C for consistency there, and C for Chris Wakelin. But also P for problems. 23 points is going to be the difference, so he can technically afford to miss it one more time, but I feel like if he's going to hit that gap in between the yellow and the brown, he's going to be, something similar to that shot of John Higgins against Mark Selby, where he was just trying to hit the brown and in the end gone twice there with the cue ball to be into the middle pocket. And this time around, he's going to hit the green, I thought. And yep, so that's 27 points of an advantage. I'm not sure if Zhao can, should actually know this rule, but I feel like he can put him back from this position. And it's just entirely up to him, especially with the way that he came up to the table. Because it's 27 points of a difference, 27 points that Chris Wakelin has, he can actually ask the referee to respot the cue ball, the yellow and the green. So this is what we're going to do. I think that's the right response there from Zhao. He doesn't need to be taking that risky yellow into the left corner. So just playing the percentage shot there. And just giving himself one more chance to try and relax in his seat. Because I'd say the way that snooker works these days, you're always going to have the wrong decision made at that point. Because if you go for the yellow, you're going to miss it. And then I feel like if he doesn't go for the yellow and he leaves Wakelin to be hitting another chance here, you'll always hit the yellow and he'll put it perfectly safe. So that's probably going to be the story. As we get the assistant referees to be still in the spotlight now. By the way, 215 people watching in the first frame. That's probably the numbers of the match of Ronnie O'Sullivan there that you would expect. Thank you very much for everyone tuning in. And feel free to subscribe to the channel and hit the like on the stream. Certainly going to have the semi-final of Zhao against one of these two players, either Zhao or Chris Wakelin, in the last four. And then I'll have to watch whether it's going to be worth it to be doing the other semi-final. But let's have a look at how Joey Lon and Ali Carter are doing. It's going to be quite interesting for me to see. Ali Carter is currently on a roll to be taking the first frame. He's got 43 points advantage with 67 still at the table. So, yeah, it's still going to be a bit of a delay here, as you can see. Wakelin just making sure he's going to do a bit of the maintenance work on the cue ball. But for now, we need to fix the traffic lights of the yellow, green, and brown. Being so super close to each other. Now then, Chris Wakelin, once again, off the side, into the bulk. Can't afford to hit the brown, the green, or miss the yellow. And as I said, I mean, it was always going to happen. And it was always going to happen like that, weren't it? And I did call it before the shot was played. When Zhao puts him in that position one more time, he's always going to get the yellow. And with a bit of fortune from the blue, he was always going to get it safe. So, yeah, that's the rule number one in snooker. Just when you need one more foul for you to be nicely away into that frame. And then you're going to be launched away with a bit of a disappointment from your side. Wakelin needs to win those scrappy frames. Yeah, he does. Question is he going to be able to do so? Because right now he has got a good chance of getting those 6 colours to be cleared up with... I mean, Zhao surely is not thinking about going for this yellow into the corner. No, he wasn't, but I don't feel like catching the pink would have been another plan for him. Although he has put it on the cushion, so... I mean, he completely sacrificed the yellow, which probably is going to be playable now for Wakelin. But the fact that he put the pink onto the side cushion, and also, unless the green is going to be possible into the yellow pocket, it's going to be far from an ideal clearance from Wakelin's point of view. Brilliant shot there, really smart, and high IQ there from Wakelin, because I have to say, I was purely focusing on the yellow being potted, but Wakelin took it one step further, and he was able to get that cue ball brilliantly behind the black, getting that yellow close to the middle, but in the end just off the side cushion it bounced. Of course, no attempt to pot it by any means, and yeah, this time around it is going to be Zhao to try and do a similar sort of thing there, of him being snookered, and try not to give too many of those points away, because, you know, one miss, this yellow could be given away, and then all of a sudden, Wakelin is going to be considered probably the favourite for him to be winning this frame from here. And brilliant hit there, brilliant hit, and as he managed to get the brown in the way of the cue ball as well, because it's a fine margin in between leaving this yellow on there for Wakelin and also just having the brown so that you're not going to be able to pot it at all. Ooh, I think this is really tight. From this camera angle, you can't clearly say it, but it feels like, you know, the way that he's taking this one on, he's going to be able to get that yellow. Oh, he's played a double. No attempt to pot it, of course. And that's a really good shot there from Wakelin, I have to say. I mean, after a bit of a scrappy break-building chances that they've had, this is an absolute gem that he managed to find. I mean, surely Zhao is not being able to get through to the side cushion. He was. And, wow, a really good response there because I thought it was impossible, which is why I thought it was such a good safety shot previously there from Wakelin. But it's all going off here. And you can see that Zhao is apologising because he snookered Chris Wakelin back there. With not only did he manage to leave that yellow safe, but also having a great ability. As Wakelin there just gives himself a bit of a spot to try and aim at. Into the cushion first. So once again trying to get that yellow away from the action-packed zone. And get the cue ball ideally in behind the green will certainly help. So goes back for the rest. Sorry, goes back for the extension of the cue. It's a minor one, which only is going to be because of him trying to do it diagonally across the side cushion. And yeah, he's played this one really well. You can see it already with the first contact of the yellow. He got that cue ball perfectly to being behind the green. There's a bit of margin, but it's not really going to do Zhao a lot of help there. And yeah, he's going to have this yellow to be very close to the black too, which, I mean, doesn't really mean anything. If it's a foul of 4 points, or it's a foul of 7 points, doesn't mean a lot there from Wakelin's point of view, but he certainly feels like he needs around 2 or 3 snookers here, and he's certainly not in the ability to try and force a respot here. Now 27 points is going to be the difference. As Zhao once again is very quick to get down to that shot and hit the yellow pretty nicely. Slowly fortunate once again, not leaving this one in the perfect position. And Wakelin once again just tries to get the cue ball in behind the black, and boy does he do it well. I mean, brilliant there from Wakelin. He's played around 6 or 7 masterclass shots there, and somehow he still didn't manage to get a point out of this one. Once again getting those traffic lights with the ball colours, and now perfectly placed next to each other, diagonally across. Pretty much equal distance as well. Luck at right time helps big time. Well, it wasn't really luck there, to be fair, from Zhao because, you know, he got that yellow still very close to the cue ball. And, well, this time around, it is going to be a bit of a drama deciding point of this frame because Zhao is not able to get out of this situation. And it's all going to come down to the paint here because he manages to pot the cue ball. Therefore, Chris Wakelin can win this frame. And remember when I mentioned leaving that yellow into the open plate, but getting that pink onto the side cushion might actually help Zhao. And it's probably the only thing right now that is going to be the difference between guaranteed to lose this frame and still being in there with a shout. By the way, I mean, when you look about that last attempt that Wakelin was taking with that yellow when he was snookered and he gave away 12 foul points, at that point, if you told me that he was going to be in this position, I was like, fair play. After everything that he's done, he's got a great chance now of trying to steal the frame away from Zhao. If he gets the green to be taken into its own pocket, he's got an easy roll of every colour but the pink. And he's just compromised slightly by the fact that the blue is out of position as well. And that may be putting him under a little bit of pressure to try and do something with that cue ball. Because I have to say, apart from it being a double, I can't really see Wakelin having the ability to try and do something with his pink. Yeah, he's clearly going to go for a double. So, I mean, this could be some steal there for Wakelin. And he's 3 shots away from making that steal work for himself. And he did say that he needs to be winning scrappy frames like this. And I think at that point I said he's got no chance of winning it. Well, he's got every chance now, especially if he takes his double on. There's going to be pressure on it. And it feels like it could be the huge turning point, although it only being the first frame. Now then, backspin for the cue ball to the black. And the pink, I think, is played with too much power. And I thought that was relevant to the pink. Ooh, I mean, has it drifted wide? I mean, is he going to apologise for it? Chris Wakelin is smiling about it, which I'm going to explain to it what happened in a minute. But yeah, basically thought that the pink was played with too much power. And in the end, the cue ball had so much power that he's gone super close to the black. And a couple of millimeters away, it would have been fine for it to be taken. In the end, it is going to be the black ball game. And it feels like a decider of the final now. Because, well, I mean, whoever wins this frame from this point onwards is certainly going to be their semi-final to lose. Especially if you're Zhao. I still feel like, you know, if Wakelin wins this one, you know, the Zhao mentality is going to be like, well, you know, it happened, you know, what can I do about it? And then we'll just try and go with the next chances that gets to me, but I feel like Wakelin is going to be the underdog anyway. So he needs to be winning those frames. Now then, Zhao. It genuinely feels like a black ball game because he basically puts it onto the side cushion just about underneath the cue ball. So let's see if we're going to see another double attempt. The previous one worked out perfectly for Wakelin. And yeah, 40 minutes since the match has started, and yet I'm not going to be in that position where I want this frame to end as soon as possible because I still have got absolutely no clue on who's going to be the winner. But I am going to call it now. He's just got the feeling of Wakelin stealing this one at the end. That's what I'm going to say. And the reason behind it is going to be the fact of him being so far down behind. 27 points, managing to find a snooker. Wakelin steal, yes. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. So I feel like it's going to be his frame to win. But Zhao, I mean, he's done it time and time again. I felt like it was the black ball game against John Higgins, where Higgins was dominating that safety play. And yet he was the one to miss long shots, and Zhao had it on a plate. So always fine margins there with this game. For now, it's advantage Wakelin. He's got all the easy shots to play, basically trying to stun the cue ball onto the cushion. And cannoning the black away from the main pack. Well, the main pack now is going to be the cue ball, but he could have played this shot a lot better. He's going to be low on power, and well, I mean, Zhao has managed to put one of those reds previously into the right corner. Now he's got a chance of trying to get this one basically off the pink spot, and after cue ball being in the position to break off into the left corner. And the cue ball is still going to be heading up the table. And all that prediction is going to come to an end because Zhao is with a brilliant steal there. And, well, it's certainly going to be feeling like a steal now. Wakelin done all the hard work, but in the end, it's the home favourite that comes away with a frame win. And, yeah, I'm going to be back with you in just a second because I need to sort something out with the stream. It keeps lagging on the fixing on me, so I'll be with a quick reset, but I'll certainly be back before the start of the second frame. And boy, have we been entertained already. It's been 40 minutes, and we've only managed to get through the opening frame. It is Zhao 1, and it is Chris Wakelin 0. Ali Carter and Joey Long, by the way, on the other table, still battling away for the first frame. Right, this should be done now. Apologies for it. And it's had a bit of internet connection issues there. So it seems to have all been fixed and working properly. But, I mean, it is super surprising, I have to say, because it's probably the only shot. And it still was a straightforward safety there from Wakelin's point of view. And somehow, he didn't manage to get that red anywhere near the black ball cushion. He got the cue ball to be basically at the center point of the D. And Yeah, in the end, it clearly wasn't enough there because Zhao Xington was able to find a perfect cut into the left corner. Of course, there's a point about it to be made that you feel like, well, he's got so much distance to try and cover with the red, but with the black, I should say. You forget one point, if that's what you're feeling. If that black or red is super close to the middle of the table, and especially if it's going to be at the pink spot, it's got so much of the pocket for you to aim at, it's going to be miles bigger than if you play that shot along the side cushion. If you touch a minor contact with the jaw, because it's going to be heading across the table and pretty much alongside the side cushion, and minor contact to the jaw, and that black or red stays out. Because you play diagonally across with, basically, I don't know, a 45 or a 60 degrees angle across the table towards that left part of the table. If you wobble in the jaws, it could still fall easily. And as I say, you just got a lot more of that pocket visible to you. So that was going to be the only thing which I could justify about the brilliance of Zhao Xington. But of course, I don't feel like there's going to be a lot of surprise about it. He now leads Chris Wakelin by 1-0. And it feels like we might have another steal coming on our way from China, because Ali Carter was, I say steal, only because of the way that frame was developed in favour of Chris Wakelin. Well, of course, he always has been the frame for Zhao Xington to lose. And it's just the way that he managed to win that one. Certainly he's going to be one of the most dramatic frames that we've seen so far this week. Now, how's his confidence going to be? He's certainly going to be on the up. His accuracy on a long shot, not really. Because of him missing that red into the right corner. He was always going to be on the black. And he was never going to be leaving anything apart from that red that he was playing for to Chris Wakelin. So Chris is just going to try and send the cue ball to the black ball cushion. Because he knows there's not going to be an ability for Zhao Xington to be getting that cue ball onto the top part of the table without having to sacrifice the potential giveaway on that red to be taken into the left or right middle pockets. So for now, Zhao Xington managing to find a gap to get that cue ball to be touching those reds. So Chris are working together. And I have to say, from a Wakelin point of view, it is going to be very close for him to be sort of very much facing an impossible task here, especially if he's gone on to lose this frame too. Because the thing about Zhao Xington, which you can't probably say about anyone right now, still standing in the main draw, is that he's a brilliant front runner. And we haven't seen too many matches away where he was able to lead and dictate the run of play throughout the entire match. But, he's certainly full of confidence, but he's not full of accuracy here. He's taking another long shot. And I feel like, he's going to be the only red that he could have left out there to Chris Wakelin. So let's see if Chris is going to be able to take the invitation. Or is he going to be all down to the pure factor of, him just trying to get that cue ball to be safe once again. I feel like he needs to be taken seriously and taking this red onto the yellow pocket, which he has. Brilliant shot there by Wakelin. As I say, from the purely sort of mental point of view, you can't just allow your opponent to be playing those shots and face no consequences for them, because that's what he's going to keep doing, and inevitably he's going to have one of those to perfectly work out for him. But yeah, I feel like that first frame is going to be crucial, because Wakelin just been really unlucky there. He played a brilliant shot off the blue and got the cue ball to be heading into those reds, but one of the reds has gone alongside the blue, so that's 5 points given away. And also, I feel like the red that could have been available to Chris Wakelin into the left corner, and in fact it's not available, so it's not a big deal. Zhao can get through to another one. But I'd say it's not a big deal. He still needs to get that cue ball to the top part of the table, and he feels like he is very rusty, I have to say. I don't really understand where all that form against Selby came where, and because, he just had a straightforward shot with the rest, and yes, he managed to get that cue ball for the blue, and he wasn't able to get the red in. Wakelin, with having such an unfortunate outcome, says that he needs to be all over this chance, and try and get himself to be very much putting that frame behind him, And, you know, like, the reason I was saying he's going to be over is that I thought that that miss from Wakelin is going to be probably the last shot that he plays, or something close to it, because of that chance and the grade of it being very much easy to execute there from that point of view of Zhao. In the end, obviously hasn't worked out. Would have not even able to take the first red away. And, I mean, Wakelin, don't tell me he's messed this one up. Please don't tell me that, because that's going to be an absolute horror show. He's got around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 reds, 6 reds to be playing for. I mean, that's super close, that is. I feel like he's just about fine, but he can't be just about fine and roll this red, because that's going to be compromising himself massively for the shot on the black. Yeah, I mean, what have you done there, Chris? Basically, has got a couple of these reds to be in the way of each other, but there's a minor way and a minor thin cut of one of these reds to be in the way of the second red. And the second red is going to be in the way of the third red, so it's just all a bit of a domino effect. And I feel like if it was the frame ball and he only needs the red, he can take this one on, but, you know, he's going to be catching the third red of the way to the black, and that's not really going to do it for him. You should take in the third red instead. That's going to be even more risky, because I feel like he's got even less of the access to that one, and also it's not going to make the positional play any cheaper or easier. Yeah, it's a very, like, from a professional point of view, you probably have to take it, just because of, as I say, if your opponent makes a mistake, it's always very important for you to try and punish him for that, just so you set the pace for this match. But yeah, Wakelin, well, I can't really judge him too much for that. He's bucking down a bit and just going to play a safety shot. As I say, I think if he wins that first frame, he probably takes that red on and maybe even makes it. Now he's having a look to see if he's going to be able to go for a plant of these two reds. And maybe just get the one closer to the pocket out of here. And away onto the middle part of the black. We're certainly taking a lot of time on this shot, but justifiably so, I would say. And don't tell me after all of that he had the red available into the right corner. I mean, don't tell me that, surely. Okay, so he's playing for a plant. I was going to say, like, if he had a straightforward red anyway to be taken into the right corner, what was the discussion all about? In the end, he tried to play it as a plant, which, you know, was understandable from one point of view. It was always going to get the cue ball away from that danger area. Had no reds at the middle point of the table, and as he was playing for the blue, probably was quite close to being shot to nothing. Now it's Zhao turn to try and prove that he was a shot to something, because he's got a red available into the left corner. But once again, Wakelin clearly aware of that. You know, he's got him in a super difficult situation here. Not just because of the pots, but also just because of the position on the cue ball needed to try and get it onto the pink. And he's played it really well, to be fair there. Credit to Zhao. That was not an easy shot. Now needs to make sure he gets the pink in as well. He could be on a real roll now, does Zhao, for him to be lining up this cue ball for this pink and just taking it into the right middle, which he has done really well. And all of a sudden, mistake from Zhao, a mistake from Chris Wakelin, and it's back to the Cyclone, very much trying to do something about it. By the way, still very much interested in how the opening frame has ended with Carter against Yulon match, and another English player losing out right to the death there for Zhao Yulon's point of view, and he now leads Ali Carter by 1-0. Yeah, I feel like those two matches have got the template of them being quite similar because of the way that they're positioned in the rankings. You know, Wakelin is going to be placed higher than Carter, but also Zhao is going to be placed higher than the rest of all four of them, basically. Being the world number 10 position. I feel like he's the world number 9 right now after Ding Zhuohui and Ronnie O'Sullivan have lost a bit of ranking points following their German Masters and a couple of previous tournaments as well. Zhao plays another good red, which will get him on the black. That one is going to be available into the left corner to be taking, as he just goes around the red. Tries to take it into the left corner as well. That's going to boost his chances quite massively. In terms of, if you play this cue ball through this red, get yourself lined up for that black to be taken. You should be in with a really good chance of just making the easier reds work for yourself. And then it's going to be a 2-0 lead before you notice that is the case. 20 points is the advantage for now. Make that 27 as the black disappears. And yeah, when it comes to the highest break there from Zhao, I don't feel like he's going to be really disappointed with what he's done. But also, if you look at Chris Wakelin making that break of 6 points as his highest, you can't really say that he's been on a massive roll there. I think there have been some reasonable circumstances for that to be the case in the opening frame. Probably not so much at the start of the second frame, as Zhao once again rolls the black nicely to the right corner. Under on slightly for this red, although I still feel like it's just about going to have the angle to leave the cue ball, to be on the black ball spot and very much playing for that most expensive colour. Wakelin there in the background, having that cue placed next to him, because I feel like he clearly knows he's going to be very lucky to be needing that piece of equipment for the rest of this frame. Now Zhao is making the highest break of the match for himself and overall. Doesn't seem like he's too pleased about the way that he got himself lined up for this black to be taken though. So yeah, force the cue ball through the black and maybe just try and get them into the reds, which he has done. Is he going to have one into the middle though? It's going to be very close, but it doesn't seem like he's concerned about it at all. So clearly there is going to be a way for him to try and squeeze either one of those two reds into the right middle. And in the end, you could see the fact that he wasn't too confident the way that he hit that shot with. He had a bit of concern straight after the cue has left the white. And yeah, in the end, he misses out on that red. Way too much of the back edge you're used, and 45 points of a break. Once again, very similar miss to the one that he had against Mark Selby in that deciding frame. Missing out on the black. Now it's still very much Chris Wakelin trying to go on the roll himself. He's got more than enough points for him to try and do it here. And only one of those reds to be placed on the side cushion for now. So it's going to be a nice little boost for his chances as well. As he takes the peg nicely into the right middle. Let's have a look at how the points are going to be working out. He's got basically 67 points to try and do something with right now as he takes the red into the right middle, plays it really well. Now going to be lined up for the black. And I mean, he knows he's going to need all 4 of these remaining reds, so why not try and play for the most difficult one right now? Because, as I say, it feels like at this point, if he is to miss any one of these reds, he's going to be frame over. Now, 28 points is the difference, 59 at the table, as I say. And yeah, he's having a look at that red to be taken along the side cushion. And as I say, that's probably going to be the only thing that stops him from winning the frame, barring some of the unforced errors. Now, this is quite... To be fair, I can understand he's just backed down a bit last second, because the way you look at it from the different angle, the red is quite awkwardly placed on that side cushion. Therefore, you want the you want the cue ball to be slightly closer to the side as well. So Wakelin just needs to make sure he puts that struggle behind him. Takes the red into the right middle with no issues, which he has. And could have done with playing the cue ball slightly closer to the black and also having a straighter angle on it. Yeah, in the end, just having a look to see if this red is going to be playable from this position. But the way that he's trying to see the angle, I have to feel like, he's not going to be playing for this red right now. Just try and send it to the top part of the table first. Get rid of the 2 reds in open play. Not going to bother about the points at all. We can play them with 2 yellows easily and still be more than fine enough. Now, the cue ball seems to be slightly pacey out there, so it doesn't feel like the 2 reds are going to be in the way of each other. So Wakelin's played this shot well enough, so this red to be lined up. And just a bit of backspin applied on the cue ball once again. Try to get this one in for the yellow pocket, and as I say, they only said it for a comparison point of view, but I do mean it. He can take this yellow with the remaining 3 reds, and he's still going to be very much fine in terms of the points for the steal to be completed. Making the highest break of the match for himself. So that's yet to see the first 50 plus break to be made. by Zhao Xington or Chris Wakelin. And, well, I do actually have a bit of a concern for Wakelin's point of view. He takes this red right now, so let's see. He's going to be playing for the blue. I mean, he has played it pretty well, but I just haven't got a bit of a weird feeling that he leaves the 3 very important shots there for himself. The shot of the cannon to try and get perfectly on the red, try and get the red itself, and then because you want to be doing very little damage, I mean, that's gone super wrong. I mean, I don't know why he's done that, Wakelin. I don't know why. I mean, that wasn't worth it at all. He basically tried to get that cue ball to be lined up for the red, take it away from the side cushion, but I mean, he needed to hit it super thin, and that's why, to be fair, I can understand why he was looking at the angle of a diagonally across the table there for that red, because I thought surely it's not playable from that position, but he also tried to play it. He's trying to get it into the open play, and I mean, this red is possible, but if the red alongside the side cushion was difficult, this is going to be super difficult to be taking on. I mean, that's super fortunate that he avoided double kiss as well. Although, I say super fortunate. It's probably judged the pace of the cue ball to an absolute perfection. Let's have a look. No, just about now. So the cue ball had slightly too much of a pace, but I mean, I can understand what he was trying to do there, because you've got that cue ball to be in behind the green. If you miss the red, a free ball is guaranteed, and a free ball at this position basically means frame conceded. And instead, Zhao Xington is still very much in the hunt for this frame. I do have questions to be asked there from both players' point of view. How about you try and get over the line quite easily and not give your opponent 3 or 4 chances to be coming back at you. And this is going to be relevant to both Wakelin and Zhao there, because Zhao had a really good chance of making that frame his for the taking. Instead, he left that. Well, he basically missed the black and gave the chance away to Wakelin now. And Chris himself could have done better, it feels like. Although he may be able to cut this red into the corner pocket. And, well, is he going to be fine for the green? He needs a bit of a touch. He gets the touch. I can't see it from this angle, but I feel like he may just about be fine here. So let's have a look. If he's straight on this one, he's going to be aiming for the yellow to be taken into the right middle surely, but he just about has got the angle to be forcing that cue ball down the table just a touch. He's going to be fine for this clearance to be there for the taking. Yeah, backspin had to be played. Is he going to have enough of it? Once again, he's super close, but it's probably not quite close enough for this to be an easy shot on the yellow. And asking the referee to clean the white as well. Certainly won't boost his chances massively with so much time taken. Yes, so the shots that he needs to play, the black is slightly out of position, but he still should be playable. And also, I don't actually feel like Wakelin's going to need the black. Find out about that in a moment. But he's got the yellow to be played into the right middle, and then he'll probably have the green to go with it into the left middle as well. And plays the yellow beautifully. And the green is going to be a whole lot easier than that. So it feels like Wakelin finally, he's going to be able to make it 1 frame each. And certainly deserved after the way that these 2 frames have gone. Could have been an easy 2-0 lead for either one of the players. And if that, you know, so often when it's that is actually the case, it's probably the only fair thing for you to realise that it is going to be even the split in between the players. And yeah, confirmation that he won't need the black. So he's gone 2 points clear right now with a brown taken. So he just needs the blue and the pink. And he's going to be something like 13 points clear with only 7 at the table. You can see there, massive wobble on the foot that he was placing. But in the end, that was before the shot has taken place. Well, he needs the cue ball to run. He needs the cue ball to run. Yeah, he could have done with having this pink a lot easier. Probably in the end not worth shouting for, but I mean, it may be if he misses it. Because, yeah, you would love a frame ball to be a lot easier than that. Is he going to be able to take it? Ooh, I thought he was going to be slightly using too much of the jaw. But it is now going to be Chris Wakelin 1, Zhao Xington 1. And after 2 incredible frames, it is nothing to separate the 2 players. And it is Zhao Xington 1, Chris Wakelin 1. So 1 frame each. And we're going to have seven more of those, well, I'm certainly going to be here for the taking, because that has been an incredible frame. By the way, 356 people watching on the quarterfinal of the world number 16 and the world number 10. Thank you very much for everyone tuned in. Feel free to hit the like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. But, I mean, I'll tell you what, you're here for the treat. And if you're watching this match live on the TV, you're very lucky about it, because you may not see better matches than that so far being played in the World Grand Prix. From pure drama, and of course that comes across as you being a neutral. If you want Zhao or Chris Wakelin to win, you probably had your heart in your mouth throughout the majority of the first hour of this match to be played, but Zhao certainly looks to be relaxed. He knew that he was quite fortunate not to be a frame down in the first place, and then as he was able to get that frame back there, did Chris Wakelin. It is now going to be a race to 4 frames. And with the good old tradition, let's have a look how Carter and Zhao are doing. Carter seems to be on the roll right now. Break of 16 points. And 4 points of a deficit in between himself and his opponent. So all about... Yeah, it feels incredible, to be fair. I have to say that. It's taken us an hour to get through 2 frames. And yet, you know, Ali Carter and Zhao Yulong barely feels like they got through the middle points of their second frame as well. So, you know, both players... on both of these matches, certainly taking their time to ensure that they're going to be doing everything they can to try and keep it very much anyone's game for the taking. I know it feels like, well, it certainly feels like an interesting match to be watching from this point of view, because you're going to have Zhao still very eager to try and do something about this form of Chris Wakelin. And... you know, if he just manages to find those breaks of 70 or 60 points to come his way, he could still feel like Wakelin will have a very difficult job of trying to get out of it. And you can see the crowd. Certainly, well, for now on their phones, but they haven't got a lot more to do. And, yeah, I mean, I was accidentally watching the Saudi Masters match of Oliver Lyons against Watchalong, and I was absolutely amazed by how little there were people in the audience. I mean, you can say what you want about Saudi Arabia, and you know, with the players praising their hospitality and everything that they have there, and when they say it's the fans slightly different because they've got different mentality of cheering, but it's also very different when you've got the world number 1. Yes, it was the first round, I get that, but for the pure commitments of we've seen, you know, fans from China all over the world, you know. Nanjing, World Grand Prix, China Grand Prix, Xi'an Grand Prix, Shanghai Masters, and you always have so many players, so many fans, I should say, turning up at the crowd with, you know, sometimes barely an empty seats, whether it's the first round or it's the final match to be played. I just feel like, you know, sometimes you have to appreciate the fans a lot more, and I know the players do, I genuinely do, but, you know, it's very nice that we've got the venues the likes of Temple Dome in Berlin, the one that we've been to last week. We've got the brilliance of the Alexandra Palace, which certainly is not going to be lacking the atmosphere for the pure size of it. Now Zhao gets himself underway. A break-off shot. And yeah, leaves a couple of those reds available here for Wakelin, although. And the second one is going to be taken, the close one to the right corner pocket. A bit of backspin needed to be added to the cue ball, but there should be a clear path for it to pass the reds and the black. And, ooh, I mean, there was a clear path. He had to make a red first, and, ooh, I mean, that's that's pretty unfortunate there from Wakelin, because he had the cue ball to be pretty much safe on the red that he missed throughout 99% of that journey, but in the end just about has more power than the red, than the cue ball, and is going to be left perfectly over the yellow pocket here. So Zhao in here with another chance. And yeah, this should be the perfect chance for him at the World Championship last year. And if you're his opponent, you're going to be feeling like, well, that's done. And Wakelin, by the way, knows that feeling probably better than anyone else. 13-5 he lost that quarter-final. Away to the Cyclone. And I predicted during one of your recent match coverages that it may not be long before all 4 semi-finalists on. What do you mean about that? don't get the last point of the statement. It may not be too long before all 4 semi-finalists on. I mean, you mean all of them are from China? But I did say that I don't really care about it, and also I'm going to be there for it. Because, let's have a look. Yeah, I mean, Zhao is taking the pink here into the left corner. But, yeah, the reason why I say I don't care about it is that because I don't have a difference in between the player being from Australia or from China as long as they play attacking and snooker that is going to be great to watch. If they're entertaining, I don't really care what it says on the flag as long as it's now the two countries that I absolutely despise and want nothing to do with. You know, nothing wrong with China. And the fact that the snooker is so popular in that country, you've got all the academies of Ding Zhuhui, you've got quite a few of those of Ronnie O'Sullivan as well. And then, you know, the reigning world champion is going to be from China, and you're watching him right now. One of my favourite players to watch, certainly, apart from Ronnie O'Sullivan there. So I'll certainly be there if he is going to try and stay in this tournament, which is the World Grand Prix that is held in Hong Kong, China, by the way, anyway. So I don't feel like there's going to be any surprise with that. What is going to be slightly surprising is that Zhao has played a bad shot on their black there to cannon it closer to the black ball cushion. So as he tries to play it, it needs a lot of power, and I'm not sure if that was planned. I don't feel like it was, but he caught the jaws of the pocket with the cue ball, and he might have actually saved him from being out of position here. He's still very much not easily taking this red into the right middle, but at least he's got a chance. Now then, needs to miss the front jaw, and he has done so. Absolutely bullets his way through. Brilliant shot there by Zhao. And yeah, feels like, you know, even though it was a really good frame in the end from Wakelin, it's still, he's going to be advantage Zhao Xington here. Especially if he's able to get a couple of, you know, frame wins before the intermission. And he needs to lead 3-1. Feels like it is going to be just about as close as it can be after 4 frames for the match to be done and dusted. Zhao will win. Yep. We've got the same opinion, and 71% of the people in the poll have the same opinion too. You know, just the cue ball to be controlled for 3 more shots, and let's see if Zhao Xington is going to try and do it from the black. And feels like he was looking at the paint potentially to be played, because that's going to get the perfect contact on each and every one of these reds. In the end, gone for the black. As he managed to get those reds away? Feels like he has. Now he needs to try and find one that he's going to let him continue the break. He's got a couple of super difficult shots to be taking on. And there still doesn't seem like there's a face of disbelief and disappointment there for him. So it's just probably a difficult shot to be taking into the left corner. Oh, this is a naughty cut that. Rolls it nicely. He's on the pink, and Zhao Xington should be on the roll now, because always takes one shot there for Zhao to spread the reds across the table. Just about enough there for him to be just trying to pick them out one by one. And the shot has already gone. And that probably was the only hoping point there from Chris Wakelin's point of view. Now it's all about making an unforced error. Otherwise, it is going to be the perfect break that gets Zhao Xington into a 2-1 lead there. So, predicted during one of your recent match coverage that it would not be a surprise if all semi-finalists in the majors were Chinese. So, all for this event. Got Chris. Okay, Gareth. Fair enough. Yeah, as I say, like, that's fair, because I get that you're going to be supporting the home player, which is absolutely fine with. I haven't got too many of those to support. I might have one in the next season, though, with one of them winning the Junior Cup a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, it's absolutely fine. But if you were to ask me on who do I support in this match, it is going to be Zhao Xington for the pure flair point that he gives to the game. Although he has slightly got himself into trouble here. He needs to recover with a shot at the pink. And as long as he meant to try and get that cue ball into the perfect corridor, he's played that shot perfectly well. I mean, the pink is going to be getting in the way of the cue ball to an extent, so I just hope that he's going to get a chance to try and continue the break from here, and it should be the case. He's got another red to be taken into the left corner, which you have to say, I mean, he's been making quite a tough job of, you know, the way that this position has developed for him. But he's been able to recover every single time so far, making the break of 47 points, still highest one in the match so far, after neither of the players were able to go over the mark of 49 points in either one of the previous 2 frames. So 2 shots are going to be in the way of Zhao Xington, and making that the first time. Now once again, gets the red nicely into the left corner, with the cue ball being super close to the side cushion on the previous shot. Now got it slightly further away here, but I do have to say, before he plays his shot here, from this angle, it looks like he's playing it into absolutely nowhere. And yeah, I mean, I'm glad I called that before. I've got no idea why he was going for that ping, because despite him being super confident, from the angle that I was watching, that ping was never going to go. And he went into the front jaw of the right corner pocket. So a bit of a weird one. But in the end, yeah, it is back to Chris Wakelin here. Really weird mistake, especially at how smooth that break was going there from Zhao Xington. But, you know, he's going to give another chance away to Chris Wakelin to try and deliver some more drama in between the 2 players. Now, points left on the table, 75 here. So, once again, not going to struggle with those. The pink has gone onto the top part of the table, but he's going to be playable. But also, it feels like he won't really need a total clearance there to be made, from Wakelin's point of view. And he might only need the ball colours. So the only real issue that he has is maybe the little factor of those 5 reds having to be played, all of them, with the black. And, you know, the blue is not really going to be too much of a helping hand for now, unless he's going to have that perfect angle to be set up on the cue ball. So having to play those shots with the black for the time being. And yeah, he's got one more on the side cushion, but from this point, I have to say, it's probably going to be perfect to be played off the blue onto the black ball cushion off the side, and just try and give it a little nudge towards the left middle. But of course, for that, you would need to judge the pace of the cue ball contact pretty well. Yeah, really surprised that Zhao wasn't able to get himself over the line. And this is more like Zhao that I've seen in that opening match again, in the opening part of the match against Marcus Selby. And I do honestly feel like it is very weird for me to see him struggling with so many of those errors, where we didn't really seem to witness any of them in the World Championship matches. And, well, of course, even at the point when they did come, they always seemed to come at the point where it was always comfortable enough in that frame to be taking it with a second or third invitation. Just referee there getting in the way of Chris Wakelin. So, no shoulder barge here. No points for this. And also, there is going to be... And, yeah, if you are going to be talking about this red to be taken into the right corner, you're going to have to be trying to get yourself on the black with just about enough angle to get that cue ball to be played through the black, and also, you know, try and disturb those 2 reds away from each other. I feel like he's committed to go for those reds instead onto the side cushion right now. So a very important shot now for Wakelin to try and get that red closer to the left middle. And has he played it well enough? He hasn't. He's got the black to be missed into the left corner. And right now, it is once again back to Zhao Xington. And with a pretty straightforward chance to be taking this one away. Yeah, this red has to be played into the left middle right now. Have the cue ball to be bounced away. And yeah, get yourself lined up for this blue to be taken. So yeah, it feels like 26 points of an advantage now for Zhao Xington. See if he takes the blue into the right middle. And well, I thought he needed to disturb those 2 reds. In the end, clearly doesn't feel like that's going to be the case. And yeah, just trying to get this red into the right corner right now. Basically getting a frame win right here, right now as well. So 32 points is going to be the advantage now for Zhao Xington to the blue, for it to be a 2-1 cushion yet again. And Zhao Xington, despite being, well, probably the second best player so far, he's going to be very much on the horse. And yeah, don't push the horses there from his point of view, because he's going to have a 2-1 lead now against Chris Wakelin. And it's going to be all about just trying to maintain that lead when he comes to the 4th frame, extended to a 3-1 of a cushion. and then try and make it a lot more comfortable from his point onwards in that second mini session. Great commentary, says Mark. Thank you very much. And he's not even a paid actor, which makes it even better. Now then, the yellow to be taken into its own pocket. So a straightforward 6-colour clearance to be bringing this one into 45 points to be taken. I strongly favour Zhao here. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. I mean, I don't feel like there's going to be any surprise about it. He's the world number 8. He's the reigning world champion. And, you know, the thing about him is that even when he makes those mistakes, he seems to deliver from the second time all the time. And that allows him to be a very dangerous force for those frames to be going his way. As now the blue is going to be taken into the left middle as well. So 57 points. And a bit of, well, clearly that shot with no real intention to pot the bank. It's barely a second worth of preparation there from Zhao, but of course it doesn't matter. He's got the break of 32 points, and the best that he could have produced was a break of 45, which would not have been his highest break of the match there. But yeah, I mean, as much as we had a lot of drama, I do feel like we need to have a bit of a quality step up, because it's been one of the most interesting matches to watch. But also you want to see some of those frames where we're going to witness the breaks of 70, 80 plus points, even a century break, you know, 132, 131, 123 of a break or something like that, a total clearance, and not just the breaks of 32 and 48 to be the highest ones after the opening 3 frames to be taken. And also from Wakelin's point of view, you know, he could have been easily away into a 3-0 lead there had he been clinical with every single one of his chances. By the way, it is looking even better for Team China. Zhao Yilong is taking another frame from Ali Carter, and he seems to be in with a great chance of doing that again in the 3rd frame now, getting himself into an early chance here. And yeah, I never understood Carter being the favourite in that match against Zhao, because I know he's got the ranking advantage over him, but you know, he surely had to be missing the way that Zhao Yilong has been playing this season for him to be the underdog against someone like Ali Carter. Both of them have made it into the final, and also both of them have made it into the semi-final of a ranking event as well, but I just feel like, you know, the opposition players that Zhao Yilong had to defeat on his way to 2 of those meetings in the final with Mark Cullen at the English Open. The man has been absolutely on fire and had that super gap of a 7 frames to 3 at some point. In the end, it didn't really stop him from doing anything more damage to Zhao Yilong. And now just having a look at the crowd, certainly seems to be enjoying themselves, and so they should. It's always nice to see the young generation as well attending those snooker matches and having a genuine interest in the way, because, you know, that's the likes of Chang Minyu for you. You know, Stan Moody to an extent, Artemi Zizens, Ilian Boyko, all these players that come through the academy of their respective countries, Anthony Kowalski, Michael Sabarchuk, all of them are going to be, hopefully, the future of snooker. And, you know, you always have the development of Zhao Yilong and Zhao Xington there, the middle-aged players, I would say, of course, lost out a couple of years of their careers because of the ban delivered to them in 2022, but still very much in the position of their career where they have got around, you know, at least 15 years, you would say, with them being 28 and 30. You know, you've got 13 or 14 years for them to try and get to the point of 44, which probably is going to be somewhat the average age where you're going to be stopping your snooker career. As we now get the 3rd frame underway, and it's a really good shot, 4th frame I should say, really good shot there from Wakelin to get that cue ball to be quite close to the yellow, but response is going to be there from Zhao Xington as well, as he gets that cue ball perfectly along the side cushion and onto the yellow pocket, just about as close to it as it could have been. Wakelin with an attempt of a response to be taking this red into the right corner, so just having a look to see if he's going to have the ability to try and take this red, and if that is the case, he's going to have a great chance to be landing on the black here, because he's not going to have too much of a risk in terms of if he takes all the power away from the cue ball. But the way that he's studying the 5-ball plans may just be a thing to be concerned about for him to be sending that cue ball to the top part of the table instead. I don't feel like he's going to be taking this plan right now, although maybe that's exactly what he's doing. Let's have a look. And he's taking that plant absolutely beautifully. I have to say, I didn't actually feel like that was possible. You had to see that one. It basically has a plant which is looking nowhere near towards another plant of 2 reds each. I mean, that's incredible there. And he somehow managed to get the first plant to be aimed exactly towards the second one. And gets that red to be perfectly dropped into the right corner. So, yeah, Wakelin certainly gets himself into it with a chance here. I mean, brilliant angle that he found. I thought he was all about trying not to disturb the plant so that, he maybe takes one of them away from each other and therefore frees up the other 2 reds to be available. And, yeah, probably deserves to be slightly better on the brown here. It's still a very difficult shot to be taken into the left middle. Let's see if he's going to be taken. And the fact that he's taken with more power just made it even more difficult. And I'm not surprised at all that he's missed it. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if he's going to be punished to full extent here. Unfortunately, when you get yourself into the quarterfinal, as much as that plant was brilliant, you can't afford to be missing shots like that. I can completely understand why he's played it. And you could maybe make a point that you didn't have another option after you take a plant like that. There was absolutely no point in trying to get that cue ball to being behind any of the ball colours. So you had to play it for the red. You had to take the brown. But in the end, all of these factors just probably adding up to each other. And making sure that it is going to be Zhao Xingtong with a return to the table. Although, with him always so eager to try and get his cue very much on the cloth. He doesn't seem so eager about it now. Has he managed to get away with this one? I mean, I'm not sure that the black is spottable into the left corner anyway, but I mean, at least if he's got the access to the black, maybe give him a chance. No, it's not playable, so he clearly was playing for the blue. And that was the reason why he wasn't too eager to try and get that red into the corner, clearly feeling that it wasn't an angle to try and force the cue ball to be going on the other side of the black, which, compromised massively by the cue ball being so close to the side cushion. Clearly trying to find an angle to play for the blue. Couldn't quite do it. Now it's going to be a trade of 1 point each. And he's played there a really good safety shot out there, by the way, have to be said. Always was going to leave a red into the right corner, but the way that he's played the black, he basically got it over the right corner pocket on the little double that he's played. And it looks like that red is not going to be available, so Wakelin's going to have to try and settle for just a safety shot to be played. And yeah, basically cannons that red, which could have been possible, into the black, pushes the black to be onto the middle of its own cushion. Some unruly spectators cheering when Wakelin missed spots and shameful. Well, Peter, as much as I understand the points, I do also feel like you weren't born yesterday. That's always going to happen. I'm not going to say that it's the right thing to do, but what do you expect the China crowd in China to be doing when the player from China is playing? I mean, you're always going to have players, fans like that cheering. You have it in all the sports. You have it cheering in football when they miss an easy shot there with the opposition. You have it in tennis on a double fault, which is never nice to see. But you're always going to be showing support to your player, even when sometimes it takes it over the edge and shows support in a way that you're basically going up against the other player there. But unfortunately, that's the way of the game. And it's very little that you can do about it. And I'll tell you what Wakelin can do about it. Try and shut them up with the brilliant play that he has. So for now, just straightforward shot there, which basically was handed to him on a plate there by Zhao Xingtong, trying to get the red away from the blue and get that cue ball to be lined up very close to the blue ball. So it's all about just trying to get that cue ball on towards the side cushion. Plays it quite well. Now it's going to be all about Wakelin looking for that touch of ball opportunity. Worst if matches are played in China. Well, yeah, but I mean, once again, tell me something new. You're really going to tell me that if I suppose I get your point slightly more now, because I think about the matches being played in England, and you're not really going to have a lot of the players cheering for it. But also, I want to see it with my own eyes, because I've just realised what you've been saying, and as much as you can always short the support, what are you trying to tell me? So they're cheering every single time that Wakelin misses a pot there, but maybe they're cheering that he comes away with a chance there to Zhao Xingtong. I mean, you always have those shouts, come on Zhao, come on C, come on Wakelin, come on O'Sullivan, when they come back to the table. So if that's the way you're talking about, then I see nothing wrong with it. But now it is a safety battle for us to try and make our way through once again. Zhao having a look. Maybe he's going to have a red available to him to be taken into the left corner right now. So that's going to be quite a straightforward shot there. Have the cue ball being placed slightly closer to the green pocket. So it's going to be all about just trying to get that red away from the black ball cushion, it would seem. And needs to get a thin touch. And he's got it really well. That cue ball is going to be heading towards the ball cushion pretty comfortably. And yeah, 13 reds that we still have in the disposal of the two players. They're going to be very much sort of packed at the 5% when it comes to the actual overall table length. All very close to be in around the pink spot, slightly underneath it. And that just makes the safety game probably slightly easier for the players because you don't have so many of these reds to be giving away to your opponent. But also inevitably, he's going to probably make the value of getting the first chance to be slightly lower than expected. Because I have to say, from this position, from the way that the players have been playing there, 48 points for Zhao is his maximum and 32 for Chris Wakelin. I would be very surprised. This is the position to take either one of them away to the winning ways. But it's a really nice shot there being played from Zhao. Let's see if he's managed to cover up the red to be taken there into the very much thin on the edge. And that seems to be the way, although Wakelin still has a way for him to try and get out of this situation. But he doesn't want to take the paint, and the referee's very close to spot this one. And, well, I say he doesn't want the paint. It's going to be 6 points given away for free. And, yeah, Zhao probably feels like there's not going to be any point in trying to put this one back. Let's see what his decision is going to be. So, yeah, just put it back. As he said, just clearly trying to realise if he's going to have a better way. So, Chris Wakelin there just being asked by the referee. I feel like it doesn't really matter. He's not going to miss it the second time, and also the 3-miss rule is not going to apply to him. Yeah, seems to be pretty well with me. And yeah, Wakelin doesn't mind about it. So pretty quick resumption to the play once again. So yeah, 6 points given away, and that probably is going to be the end of the safety battle. Though the pace is going to be quite slim on the cue ball, and he doesn't want to be leaving this shred away. And well, I mean, if the previous miss was quite bad there from Wakelin, this one can be slightly more costly because of that red being available into the left corner. But Zhao very quick once again to dispute that and yeah, give the turn back to Chris Wakelin for the third time. As I say, I mean, I'll be waiting to see the audio if referee's going to warn Chris Wakelin, and of course he won't here. Just confirmation of that being the case. He couldn't see any one of these reds, even halfway down the line. And yeah, plays a really nice shot there from the third time of asking. So 10 points is going to be the advantage for Zhao here. It's still probably not going to mean anything with 131 points still to be up for grabs. Now just get that cue ball to be lined up pretty much straight down the spine there and onto the ball cushion. Played the shot pretty well. And back to Wakelin it goes. Yeah, I think he's going to have a pretty nice opportunity to try and hit the thin cut of this red. Get it to the right corner, although doesn't want to hit the jaws, which is exactly what he's done. And I have to feel like it's always different when you're looking from the sort of other part of the table. But I felt like he was always going to hit this one slightly too thick on the edge and get that cue ball way too close to the pocket. Yeah, that feeling was true. And once again, it is Zhao back with the chance here. And going to have a couple of easy shots to make his way through for now. He's got the brown to be taken into the left corner. And I mean, yeah, I actually felt like he was going to be doing a Jack Lisowski a couple of years back when he played 2 reds back-to-back, one after another. In the end, he was clearly just thinking about the next position. And I mean, very surprised by that decision, but he may be about to play for the black, which is currently placed perfectly onto its own cushion here. So let's see. He has played for it. He's going to be quite straight on it, but it's not really going to matter. He's got the ability to just force the cue ball through this black, get himself lined up for the next red. Just about wobbles it in. Didn't catch too much of the jaw. And still drops that black in nicely. So that changes things. It gives them a black to try and make his break around right now. And he also has got 24 points to go with it. And so many reds that are going to be quite easy for him to dispatch as well. So he's got all the aces now. And he's not even Jock Trump. Zhao is on a roll now to be heading to that 3-1 of a lead. Not quite from a single opportunity there after that red being potted into the right corner at the start of the frame where he was unable to get on the blue. But still, it'll certainly be an improvement when it comes to the position that, you know, there's a huge difference before he played that shot to play for the black, and after it, there was probably around 30% of him closing off the frame with the same position there, as he uses the entire width of the pocket to try and roll that black in. So certainly a bit of a nervy moment at that time, but only for a split second. And also, it has gone from around 70% of it having the ability to try and close the position away from his opponent, from the point that he was able to put the black on his spot and yeah, get a couple of difficult reds away from the black ball cushion as well. Now he's going to have a 40 points advantage. May need a bit of maintenance work to be done on a couple of these reds. Clearly playing for a plant into the left corner, which is going to be probably the deciding damage to Chris Wakelin's chances of coming back to the table for at least one more time. He's going to have 83 points to try and make his way through. And once again, in no time, 38 points. And by the way, something that I wanted to mention anyway, but I was really pleased to see that interview of Zhao and on different points. But the fact that he was saying he wants to be the player that breaks the record for the fastest maximum made by Ronnie O'Sullivan, as much as I feel like he probably doesn't quite understand as difficult as it's going to be. But if I was to pick any one of the players to do it, there's going to be two shouts. There's going to be Wu Yize, and there's going to be Zhao as well. And one of them being the world champion, and the other one not. Surely he's going to be the player to beat on the next 10 years to come. And thank you very much, Chris Wakelin fans are going to say, because once again, with a perfect jinx, one of the easiest reds that you can miss into the right corner, Zhao, here I come. I mean, that is a shocking miss out there, and you can see his reaction. Well, especially doing all that hard work. Wakelin is going to buy the lottery ticket after this one, because he had absolutely no right to be coming back to the table. And right now, he becomes by far the favourite to be taking this match onto the intermission, with it being a scoreline of 2 frames for each of the players. I mean, that's going to put a cat amongst the pigeons for sure for Zhao and Wakelin. I mean, whatever you do, make sure you make this one work for yourself. And still, Zhao is unable to go with a break of 48 points. And yes, was a wonderful testimony about Ronnie yesterday by Goodon. Yeah, I mean, Zhao Goodon, by the way, class act. I mean, wonderful. The fact that very rarely in any sport you see someone saying, I'm disappointed I beat someone just because I love them so much. I mean, it's probably someone that Ronnie fans would say, but it's still, I mean, for you to find so much class there, surely it will come with experience. Because, I mean, tell me about it. If you're going to have a chance to try and beat Ronnie O'Sullivan, and then you do it, and you're going to be like, yes, I have beaten Ronnie O'Sullivan, the best player in the world, and yet he comes across and says, I'm disappointed that Ronnie's not going to be reaching the final. But unfortunately, it's a competitive sport, and someone had to win. And from my point of view, I had to make sure that I've done everything my way. That's a perfect interview, by the way. And, you know, the respect for Zhao Goodon from my point of view has just gone, you know, 2 levels higher than he was. Yeah, brilliant interview there. And sometimes, you know, the words can mean a lot. But sometimes the positional play like that can cost you the frame. And from Chris Wakelin's point of view, yeah, that perfect chance. I mean, by the way, whoever one of them gets into the semi-final will have to improve their form massively, because it's been nowhere near good enough. And Zhao finding it difficult to win in one visit, yes, but I mean, Wakelin, you're going to tell me about it. And now Chris Wakelin is just going to be looking at this black to be taken into the left corner. And yeah, he's got the chance of trying to take the red after this black anyway. But, I mean, this black is super difficult to try and cut into the left corner. And, I mean, if you're going to play a safety shot out of it, I feel like it's only a matter of time until Zhao is going to have the opportunity to try and put either one of those reds onto the side cushion and still very much make it his frame to lose. By the way, as Wakelin takes so much time to be looking at all of these reds, let's have a look at how Ali Carter and Zhao Long are doing. And surprisingly, despite having that great chance of Zhao Long, he wasn't able to take that frame away from Carter. And with that break of 60 points, Ali is able to put himself back in the contention. And it's now going to be 2-1 of the advantage to the Chinese player. Has he managed to pot the green now? Unwanted shot there from Wakelin. And, I mean, I have to say, I probably misjudged slightly my return to the main table here. But I could still see that green being taken into the green pocket. And you can see Wakelin there clearly saying, yep, I absolutely played that. I absolutely did. And I'm very happy with the way that I got myself lined up on neither one of these reds. It's probably one of those rare occasions where you make it and then you're still disappointed with getting that colour in. Well, you won't be disappointed now. I mean, Wakelin, I mean, what a roll that is. This could be one of the best introductions that he's ever had there, because the green that he potted, you know, he still had the chance to go for that red into the right corner somehow with, you know, I don't even actually know which one of the shots was more difficult, and yet he's perfectly on the yellow. And, yeah, back in the hunt he goes. All of a sudden, he got himself from being 20% club to winning this frame back to 80% or something. He's got 3 reds available to him, just needs the cue ball to miss the second one. But missed my Zhao 3 times in a row. I mean, I don't know what you talk about it. Oh, you talk about that red that he missed into the right corner. Yeah, but, I mean, that was a bit of a while ago. Now you have to be praising Wakelin for all the things that he's done. I mean, thank you. And you're welcome, Zhao fans, because, as I say, he's been playing super well. He goes on and misses a red like that. Yes, it wasn't easy, but in comparison to the previous red and the green that he made, this has been pretty poor standard. And if it was a bad miss by Zhao, should be classified as a poor miss from Wakelin's point of view as well. Yeah, I mean, whatever you say, I mean, it was quite fun to be watching this for the first couple of frames, and Zhao goes for a brilliant red to be taken into the left corner, and only now needs one more red and one more colour for him to be heading into the intermission with a 3-1 lead. By the way, 340 people watching, thank you very much for everyone tuning in. Feel free to hit the like on the stream and subscribe to the channel for the semi-final action and the final yet to come. Now then, he needs this brown to go in. He has got it, so just a red for Zhao to be putting all of these struggles behind him and somehow still having the ability to try and get himself booked in with a 3-1 lead there heading into the second mini session. It's just the reds, and he was always going to be slightly too easy for this red to simply disappear. Now, where's he going to finish? Is he going to be behind the pink and the blue? It feels like it is. So, in all 3 previous frames, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love Zhao, but I've got absolutely nothing to say about that point. He has been way below his standards. Set up at some of the best matches that he played, and you can see a bit of a, well, I don't know what's happening here. A reaction on his face. He should have got this frame ball in. And probably should have had this frame wrapped up a while ago. Now we're pretty much 2 hours into this match, and we're yet to finish 4 frames. That's quite slow there, especially for the thinking process that I had for this match to be going quite quickly. Chris struggling today. Well, you know what I think about it? Peter was saying that Zhao had a bad miss, and then straight away, Chris Wakelin got on to make a mistake. And then now, Kevin says, Chris has been struggling, and Zhao Xington, he's gone to make a bad miss there. But just as I say that, Chris Wakelin trying to double a red. I don't know if it was a genuine attempt to try and get the cue ball in behind the black, or whatever he was doing. In the end, it is going to be putting the red over the pocket. And it's not going to have any easier of a frame ball ever to get this one in. So Zhao Xington just looking to try and find himself on the colour. As much as the frame ball was easy, getting on the colour wasn't quite as easy though. And GG's, yes, it is going to be a good game here for this frame. And a 3-1 lead now for Zhao Xington to be taking into the next frame. Just needs the brown to ensure that he's not going to be taking another half an hour for us to finish the frame. And it's not quite yet. So, I mean, he knows it. He knows he's probably got himself into another position there. And he's been in there before in the first frame. Yeah, you can see he's smiling about it. So he's seen the funny side of it, which I always like about Zhao. But right now, he's going to be under a little bit of threat with the first shot because he knew straight away that Wakelin was going to be all over the shot and cancel the good game. Because technically, it is one snooker to tie here for Wakelin, and he might have got it. The red is perfectly on the pink spot. The cue ball, he's in behind the grain spot right now, so one cushion escape. Is he going to be able to get the contact? He will be. Now, very little distance in between the cue ball and the red, so maybe another chance coming up, but the fact that Zhao was able to get past that problem straight away is going to be a good point there to be made about him. Now, Wakelin's just having a look one more time to see if he's got the opportunity to get one of these reds away and onto the top part of the table. So, yeah, a bit of backspin needing to be applied now to try and get that cue ball onto the black ball cushion. But has he played a blunder now? I feel like he has. And from having a really good chance of being back in the frame, I feel like he may have actually left it on the plate now for Zhao. And surely now, there's not going to be another miss. And it is going to be a 3-1 lead for Zhao. And so, it comes to the plate. Zhao 3, Chris Wakelin 1. There's not going to be any comeback here. He gets that red into the middle. And after... Listen, it was fun to watch that in the opening 2 frames, but I do want to see a bit of a standard uprise from both of the players' point of view, because it could have easily been a 4-0 win for either one of them. Tea time, thank you, yes. So just all about making a little bit of a total clearance here for the fans. And also, you know, you can laugh about it, but at the 4th frame, you still might be getting a bit of practice and a bit of match fitness there. Because, you know, we mentioned Ronnie O'Sullivan struggled for that. I feel like if Ronnie was playing as well as he was against Zhao, he would have had a 3-1 lead against either one of the players, at least. And, yeah, the good news for Zhao is a sign of a true champion. When you're not playing well, and you've got a 3-1 lead to speak for it, it's still, I'd say you take it. And now just having this blue to be taken into the right corner as well. Beautiful shot. So maybe he's just going to be warmed up now. And, of course, the worst possible news for him is that the intermission is going to come, and a bit of entertainment for the crowd. He certainly values a lot of himself, trying to go for a double into the right corner. And in the end, Wakelin looked like he was going to come back to the table for a bit of playing time, with Zhao making his way out of the arena for the next 15 minutes. It is going to be 3-1 lead for the Cyclone, and it is Wakelin that needs to wake up to the extent. And it's not quite been a quarter-final worthy of an appearance for him. It is Zhao 3, Chris Wakelin 1, as we wait for the match to resume and the players to come back to the arena in 15 minutes' time. As, by the way, Ali Carter and Joey Long still battling away for their 4th frame, almost 2 hours in since we had those quarterfinals started. 15 minutes' time, stay tuned in, and we'll be back with you with more content very shortly.
Something to hold on to, gotta find it first. But here I am, 'cause I've been laying under palm
in my head again. You had your heart set on me, but this feels they come and go, and they come so easily. Tell me what it is about you that I can't forget, but you're breaking down my walls again, just to set me free. Why do I, baby, why do I love the way you always leave me? Why do I, baby, why do I love the touch but never love the feeling? Why do I, baby, why do I love the way you always leave me? Why do I, baby, why do I love the touch but never love the feeling? Staying up when I go out, you gotta know I'm all yours. But when I say what's that about, you start slurring your words. Tell me why you have to seem so distant when I'm holding you. Your fingertips are drifting away, and I fucking love how it hurts. Why do I, baby, why do I love the way you always leave me? Why do I, baby, why do I love the touch but never love the feeling? Why do I, baby, why do I love the way you always leave me? Why do I, baby, why do I love the touch but never love the feeling? Why do I, baby, why do I baby, why do I baby, why do I love the touch but never love the feeling?
Right then everyone, we are back from the intermission, and let's see if it is going to be a bit of a shift in performance there from the two players, because as I said, as much as it was quite entertaining to watch for the first couple of frames, I do think that the players need to step it up a touch and just make sure that they're going to be playing their best game right now, and so the performance needs to improve, but especially from Wakelin's point of view, and as I said, he could have easily been the one to be 3-1 up. According to, well, in comparison to Zhao, but in the end he's found himself 1-3 down. Now after a break from Zhao, let's see if he's going to go for this red into the right corner. He has gone for it again, but just like it was in the third frame, he's going to leave it away to Zhao. Let's see if he's left it into the left corner though, because he got the red very close to this cue ball right now, just underneath the bulk line. But yeah, if he can cut this one into the middle, that will be nice, because that's going to make it Slightly easier there for the cue ball to be running up the table for the blue. Could have done with slightly more power, Zhao. But as he gets the red in nicely, at least he's going to get himself a chance here straight away. So, yeah, the match could still finish 5 frames to 1 here in his favour. And that'll certainly be well taken there by the champion. By the way, another player from China, Watchalong, has managed to dominate Ali Carter in a very similar fashion to what Zhao has done himself. Of course, the players wouldn't be up against each other, and the winner of this match will play Zhao, and the winner of Ali Carter against Watchalong will play Zhang Anda. That has surprisingly for me knocked out Wu Yize. I know they're always going to be super close to each other in terms of the rankings, but I just thought that Wu Yize was going to be the man to beat, apart from Zhao and Zhao, but in the end he's dropped out of the race. And now it's very much the Cyclone's charge onto his first ranking event title. And I did mention, just after this raid, which he gets taken really nicely, gets a little nudge of the yellow as well, which is not going to compromise him too much. He's still on the blue. The previous shot that he had to play off the ball and the side cushions slightly compromised himself on the exit. Yes, I thought Wu would win that one. Yeah, I mean, Zhang is a very interesting player there, because as much as he doesn't come across as someone that will beat everyone and go on to win the entire title, he has managed to defeat, it was Barry Hawkins, and he lost out to Karen Wilson in the German Masters, and then he's gone, very quiet about his business, but he has got a really good campaign so far. And of course, you can't have a bad one and reach the semi-final stage. Ooh, I mean, this is risky. And is Zhao going to get onto anything? I mean, I say it's risky. Once again, it probably was a bit of a shot that he had to play, trying to get that cue ball into the bunch of reds. And in the end, it feels like he's not going to be on anything here. He's got a really difficult cut into the right corner, which you never can tell the angle, whether it's going to be misleading you or not. But I feel like, he had a look at it, so maybe he's going to try and go for it anyway. And he has. Is he going to be on the black? Well, he seems to be up for it. So the answer certainly seems to be yes. But once again, having to play the cue ball from the side cushion, compromising himself slightly. And also needs to judge the contact on the next red. Wow, I mean, that's a really underrated shot there that he's played, because he had 2 incredibly difficult factors for him to be aware about. Shot from the side cushion, and also you need to be getting in contact on the red in your favour. And once again, just having that ability to turn the frame around. And, on the previous shot, he was probably going to be out of position. Right now, he is very likely to win the frame with no further effort there from his point, apart from just taking those reds with the blacks. But I did say that in the previous frame, when he had a 56-0 advantage over Chris Wakelin, and that didn't really come across too well at the end. So let's see if he's going to be able to step up his game. But the thing about Zhao is, something that I've really liked about him as well, is that he seems to develop his game as the match progresses. So I actually thought it may take him a bit of time to settle into the second mini session as well. But remember, he's finished the first one quite nicely, playing some nice shots on the blue. And getting that total clearance of 32 points at the end. Which, I mean, for this match so far, you can see the 48 being the highest break of the match in general. It's not too bad. He's got a red available now into the left corner, which just about gets past the other red. Had another option into the left middle to be taken, but as I say, he's spoiled for choice now, Zhao. I mean, you probably realise what happened. I said he just about passes the other red, but whatever you do, don't play it into the further part of the pocket, and that is Zhao once again letting Chris Wakelin off the hook. And I mean, so many silly mistakes that we've seen from Zhao, and I mean, I do have to wonder how on earth is he leading 3-1, because once again he's smiling about it, but I mean, it's not really a lot to smile, because you can laugh it off in the first or second, maybe even third frames, but when it comes to the 5th frame, and if you've got a chance like that to basically be in the semi-final, I mean, there's basically no way that Wakelin is going to be able to win 4 frames from this point of view. But yeah, miss a red like that, because it was one of the simplest reds that you can miss. And yeah, basically one chance and one job not to hit the red so close to that left jaw of the pocket that he basically would be on the verge of missing the red anyway, had it not been for the other red being in the way. And Yeah, missed that shot altogether, catching the red in progress, but may have actually done him a bit of a favour. As you can see, Chris Wakelin didn't do anything with the attacking perspective. So gives the cue ball straight away back to Chris Wakelin. Oh, well, I mean, Zhao Xington, he hasn't literally given him the cue ball. That would be a foul shot, but just puts it into the ball cushion. And now Zhao can try and do it all again. But, I mean, this is Zhao Xington for you. This is Zhao Xington. He's missed one of the easiest reds that he'll have to play in the entire tournament. And then he's gone on and found a beautiful long shot like that. I mean, it doesn't really get worse than the shot that he missed, but it also doesn't really get a lot better than the shot that he's played into the right corner because of the cue ball being so close to the ball cushion. I mean, it's difficult to put into words how difficult must that have been for him to cue the cue ball so well. Pardon the pun. And, yeah, just trying to get that one in set up perfectly for the black. Now, I bet he is going to be taking an extra second or two and making sure that he's going to be taking all the right shots right now. So going for an extension, something that you could have, tried to avoid on the first encounter. It's been a really fun match now, but surely now it's all about the timing for, you never quite know. I'll certainly be very disappointed if he doesn't kill the frame from here. I feel like there's not going to be anything more for him to try and chase down after it, though, because the century break is going to be very difficult to be made after such a good early break of 44 points. So just trying to get the blue to the left middle. I think he'll try and get the cue ball into these reds, and he was always going to have the one onto the left middle and the left corner for himself. So not really having any risk of being out of position here. For now, talk about killing off the frame. He should be getting to around 70 points or so, and then he's going to be very much having that 4-1 lead to himself. For now, overplayed for the blue. Maybe having the necessity to be taking the green right now into its own pocket. Bit of backspin on the cue ball. And onto the left side cushion. And, well, he's tried to avoid the side cushion contact in general. And I think, like, he's pretty fortunate there with the contact he got on the blue. You can see the hand of apology going up. So, yeah, basically going across the table towards the left corner, catching the blue. And catching it in the way that he's going to be lined up perfectly for this red. Needs a rest shot, but as I say, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Although when I say shouldn't be, doesn't mean that he won't be. Now, 55 points is going to be his deficit. And of course, it could be the first frame where Wakelin doesn't have a realistic chance next to his name. All the previous 4 frames, had at least, well, feels like 20 or something points scored by each of the players. And in the end, it's going to be all about Zhao Xington trying to make himself. If Wakelin and Carter lose tonight, the semis would be all Chinese players. Amazing. Yeah, I mean, it would be incredible, but I really like the response from Zhao Xington yesterday or the day before. Probably would have been yesterday because he had to play his match yesterday against Selby, saying that he's definitely not going to be for the last time. I'll tell you that for free, and yeah, that's going to be happening a lot of time in the future as well. I really like the response, and now he's only 1 frame away from making it 3 out of 4 Chinese players in the semi-finals, with Wakelin still being very much in the hunt to make it 4 out of 4 against Ali Carter. Gets the plant into the left corner as well, so breaks off, well, 36 and 71 points now. And going to be what it takes for Zhao Xington to be taking this frame away from Wakelin. And once again, as I say, the first time that we've seen Wakelin not score any of these points at all in, the opening 5 frames now. So I feel like we're not going to have enough points there for Zhao Xington to make a century break. And yeah, right now, if he was to take on the remaining 4 reds with the blacks, he'll be on 99 points, and still having the pink onto the side cushion certainly would help. Probably in one of the worst positions that you could possibly have the pink, because I feel like it's too close to the cushion for you to be taking a double on. But also, it's just about close enough to the middle that you might feel like you might give it a bit of a nudge and leave it over the pocket, but it never seems to happen there with the players. So, and of course, you can't play a positional shot for the pink to be so far away from the right corner pocket for you to be trying to roll this one along the side cushion, but it might actually turn out to be the best possible news and the best chance for yourself. to be getting that one in. So, yeah, Zhao certainly trying to maximise the points tally that he can get. So, making the first 50-plus break straight away, getting onto the 64 points, making that 65 with the red. Amongst them, Zhao and Zhang are the most mentality stronger. Yeah, because they've got more experience. I mean, remember that Zhao Xingtong and Zhou Yilong are still very young in their career. Of course, lost out on a couple of those years. But when you look at the approach that Zhang Anda and Zhao Gurun are taking, they're more similar. I'm not going to say they're the same, because they're very different in style, but they're quite similar to the one that, another band player, Yang Mitao, was taking, because as much as they still prefer to be playing those attacking shots sometimes, you do have similarities in between the style of Bintao was taking. But ultimately, I do feel like that, watching Zhao Gurun and Zhang Anda is a lot more enjoyable than, watching those hour-lengthy battles featuring Yang Bintao, who of course won't be back on the tour for a couple more years. I think his ban ends in November 27, so we'll have to wait and see if we get more of him. And well, I thought that the pink wasn't playable for the double, and Zhao Xingtong clearly saying that he knows better than I do. Right. Good thing is, these disconnections keep just happening midway through those frames, but apologies for that. Bit of a disruption to the rhythm, but we are back. Should have happened again. He always seems to go off for a minute or so, and then it's fine back to normal. And yeah, I mean, we haven't really missed out on anything. It was the break of 84 points, which I think you would have witnessed from me covering to full extent. And then it was just that disconnection midway through the frame. So just a bit of wait for you to just get through the struggling point of that frame. Now get the chat back on the screen as well. And when over Selby from 1-4 down had given Zhao big confidence, but he had bad luck in the... But he had the same luck in this game. Yes, so basically, it's all about the performance there from Zhao Xingtong, and he wasn't really able to execute that performance to the perfect level of his own, but, you have to give credit when he's due. It's 4-1 up now, and as long as he avoids doing the same thing that Mark Selby has done against him, he should be through to the semi-final with no further complications there. As now, Carter is trying to halve the deficit in between himself and Zhou Yilong in the other quarterfinal. Well, you could say in the other semi-final pursuit, but of course it's still very much the aim to get to the last four. As now Zhao Xingtong has got a chance after that break-off shot by Chris Wakelin. Once again, he's been going for the long shots for fun. Is he going to be able to make this one in? No, he won't. So is the red going to finish over the middle? Well, even if it does, it's going to be compromised by another red. But don't tell me he's managed to get both of these reds saved, by the way, because he got the cue ball nowhere near the playing position for the black. So very close to these reds. And I'm just looking to see if Wakelin can try and guide the first red past the second one into the right corner pocket, into the right middle. Because, I mean, if you say that he wants to play it with a safe fashion, then you're probably 2 or 3 frames too late here. You're going to have to try and play your best game, which you've ever played, to defeat someone like the world champion. For you to be lined up with a good win here. Yeah, you can see the gap to be taking it into the right middle, but of course the thing that he's going to be concerned about is going to be the fact of, if he misses that red, he's bound to leave the second one over the right middle, no matter what he does. And of course, for him to be getting that position on the black, he needs to be playing the cue ball into the open area, which, once again, will leave the same sort of miss to be very much costly there for him. Wakelin trying to force Zhao Xingtong into a bit of trouble with his safety shot, and in the end just playing this red onto the side cushion there from Zhao's perspective might help. And yeah, let's have a look if he's going to be able to just... Basically, I feel like the easiest thing to do is get the red off 1 or maybe even 2 side cushions into the main pack of reds. The cue ball is just about going to hit the side cushion enough there for it not to drop into the green pocket. Although it'll finish quite close to it. And yeah, I do genuinely agree that that Selby win has given him a lot of confidence. But, you also have to make sure that when you're not playing well, you are winning those frames. And I still feel like it could have been a very different outcome had he lost on the opening frame. Because, if you lose the opening frame, you're basically asking him to win 4 frames on the bounce in such unpredictable frames. it's probably never going to happen, and that way it's going to be 3-2, maybe in Zhao Xingtong's favour, maybe it's going to be in the favour of Chris Wakelin, and then it could have been a very difficult match there from the Cyclones' perspective, but that's exactly why you need to win those frames, and that's exactly what he's done. Now then, another great shot by Wakelin, and very much tied up Zhao Xingtong to the ball cushion and forcing him to try and go the long way around of the cue ball. 2 cushions after hitting the red. Played the shot pretty well, although could have done without kissing the brown and leaving that cue ball pretty much close to the center point of the D and having a long shot available. Though, you know, the red that he's cannoned onto the right part of the table may have been a massive point in that decision being made there by Wakelin, because if you play for that, if you play that red into the left corner, the whole point of you trying to do it is that you get yourself lined up for the black. That red would have compromised the black to be going into the right corner. So Wakelin tried to take that red away. Could have done without, you know, kissing the blue, although he's probably quite fortunate for that cue ball to be so far up the table. And now Zhao Xingtong may be taking this red into the left corner. Ooh, he's gone for another approach, and quite risky there to avoid the kiss on one of those reds as the cue ball's going back up the table, but plays the shot really well. Now gives the turn back to Chris Wakelin yet again. So, yeah, all about the timing now for Chris. Take the opportunity. You know, get yourself a couple of frame wins. One thing I will say, by the way, I do expect Wakelin to get that scoreline slightly more respective there to his name, because, you know, we've seen it with Pang Jing-su and Sean Murphy. That probably was the only time where we've seen the player to get over the line. And just to say that, Wakelin finds another gem and gets a plant of, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 reds into the left corner. I didn't even see that. He was just trying to pot that red. Wow, I mean, I was joking about 5 or 6, 7 reds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, this may well be counting as a 5-ball plant that he played into the left corner. Fantastic shot once again. Gets himself nicely on the brown, and yeah, I would expect him to make the scoreline slightly more respected, simply for the reason of, you know, the players have always seemed to struggle in the past stages of this tournament to be over the line. You know, when you've got that 4-1, 4-2 cushion, you know, it's always seemed to have taken them to lose a couple of those frames before eventually they've gone on to win. Probably the only player that I would say was taking the other approach must have been Xiao Guodong. I know he lost 1 frame against Wilson, but I think that's just the part of the game. He had a 4-1 lead against Karen Wilson in his first round, and he had a 4-3 lead against Ronnie O'Sullivan. He's gone on to convert the frame-winning opportunity from the second time against Wilson and from the first time against the 7-time world champion. For now, Wakelin still has got quite a difficult position there at his grasp to try and make his way through because of, you know, the way that he's got the colours to be positioned. Should be lined up nicely on pretty much all of them, but he's just trying to get nice position on the reds and then convert them into the perfect position on the colours. The fact that he's got the blue, compromised by himself, by the way, on the previous couple of safety shots, very much out of position. He's not going to do a lot of justice to him either. Plant Chris needs a forest to win now. Yeah, well, he does, but he also needs to try and avoid the silly errors. And I promise that I'm not doing it on purpose, and I wouldn't even count that as a jinx. I just said the fact he needs to avoid the simple errors, and he's made another one. And if I was saying that Zhao Xingtong mistake in the frame number 4, I think it was horrendous, well, this might be taking the biscuit from Wakelin. And yeah, I would be surprised from this point. I know I've just said, and I've made a whole point about, you know, players taking some time to get over the line. But if you're playing this, nearly said this crap, this badly, then yeah, you are going to be in massive trouble. Although, I mean, Zhao Xingtong, I mean, what is happening in this quarterfinal, by the way? We've got 2 of the players that I was so looking forward to watch, and I thought that the first 2 frames were going to be out of the ordinary, and then we see in frame number 6, 2 shots like that being missed. I mean, I don't know which one is the worst, because I can understand, you know, maybe a 15-year-old in the academy, amateur, missing that shot, either of them, but I mean, I wouldn't really praise him for either of those misses there, but especially for a professional to be doing that, for a place in the semi-final. Yeah, I mean, Zhao Xingtong, you probably can say, you sort of can afford to do that now, but you can't afford to be doing this if you're 17-0 clear in the World Championship final. Still need to find a frame there, and you're not going to be able to do it with frames like that. But anyway, moving on swiftly. It's all about the next mistake, I would say now. And, well, certainly from what we've seen, it could come at any point. It is going to be now another chance for Wakelin. When we'll see the Rocket next, please. Also, do you think wins this match? Well, obviously, Zhao will win this match. I mean, like, I would be very surprised if I was with such unpredictability of the way that this game has gone. I mean, if I was to say Chris Wakelin was to win it and it'll be right, I may as well just buy the lottery tickets for myself, because that's going to be the prediction of the year. And, well, probably if you predicted Zhao to convert that 4-1 of a deficit against Selby, but I certainly didn't. And, yeah, moving on against Ronnie. So, I know that we'll see him, well, we should see him in the qualifying match of the World Open against Ross Muir, but as you always see with Ronnie, he's always going to be playing not the scheduled qualifying round matches. He's always going to be playing towards the start of the tournament. So, basically, there's going to be a point where you play the qualifying matches with, majority of the players about a month before the main draw of the tournament starts. And when it comes to Ronnie, and not just him, it's not a special privilege that he gets. The likes of Trump, the likes of Robertson. I think Wilson is going to be playing with the main guys, though. They're going to be playing about a day or two before the main draw of the tournament starts. So there's going to be a chunk of players playing a month before, but I feel like Ronnie is going to be playing just a day or two before the World Open starts. And that's going to be midway through March, nearly said April. That's when the Crucible is going to be starting on the main draw. So, yeah, of course, he's qualified to be playing in the Players' Championship, which is going to be all about, the top 16 players of this year. So that's going to be quite interesting to see. I'm not sure if that's the one in Manchester and Telford. I always get those two mixed up. But, yeah, it's going to be quite interesting. So we've got, basically, after this one, we've got Welsh Open, which I don't feel like... I've seen the main draw for it, but I don't feel like I've seen Ronnie featuring that one for 2 years right now. So I wouldn't expect him to be playing in the Welsh. And then you've got this tournament, which, of course, he's knocked out and away from. And you've got World Open, Tour Championship, and Players' Championship. And then we're going to be back for the Crucible. Meanwhile, Wakelin seems to be going on about the business quietly here, managing to avoid those mistakes and getting the highest break of the match. And only about time there. Break of 33 to come in the 6th frame. That's, I mean, poor probably is not the right adjective to be describing this. It has been shambolic there from Wakelin. And you'll know that better than anyone else on this arena or watching the TV. Is Ronnie playing the Welsh Open? You think, nah, absolutely no chance. I mean, he's not in the main draw, which, is completed. You can't just throw players out of it, even for Ronnie, because it just puts the integrity of the sport down to the test. Wakelin there played a really nice shot on the pinky to the yellow pocket. Might have actually been one of the nicest shots that he's played in the entire match there, barring the two incredible plans. But he answers, +1 for a joke there from Kevin, planting a forest there, but can't seem to plant a frame win there, which, I suppose Forest is more important. But the thing for him to try and focus on now is just trying to get the break of 60 points right now. And on the back of the early, 9 points that he scored there, it should be enough for him to be taken over the line and get at least a frame on the board there. Have a 4-2 of a deficit against Zhao. Maybe, you do it 2 more times and you're going to be a real threat for potentially a late challenge of this match against the world champion. And yeah, I think there was another point there which I missed. Sorry, don't have the chat on the screen. Is Ronnie playing in the Welsh Open? No, I said that. And bring each other down. Yeah, basically. And one thing I will say, though, and I'll say it after this break has finished, and, well, it doesn't really mean anything at that point, basically, for Wakelin, because he can still try and go for a century after the frame is won, but until that point, still needs to make sure he gets the red and the black combination in. Gets the red nicely into the right corner. And, yeah, they seem to need a second invitation there every single time, as if to say, well, I have to be, trying to be fair to you, and I'll give you one more chance to maybe come back at the table, but you shouldn't really be doing that. You should be about going for the kill, being ruthless, and one chance, one frame win, just like we've seen in the previous frame from Zhao. Had it not been for that shocking miss of the red into the left corner. We had a couple of those, I tell you that. I mean, you genuinely could make a good compilation and a good reasoning for Zhao Xington to be losing the entire match for all the misses that he had in those 6 frames here. Instead, he's going to be somehow leading by 6, well, not 6, but 4 frames to 2 here after the 6 frames that have been played. Another red disappears. And yeah, we're going to have a break of 79 points now for Chris Wakelin achieved. As I might have actually gone slightly too far away. Have a look. Yeah, I've given him too many points. So he's got a chance now to be going for the colour instead. And I've counted that red as a black for, well, mistakenly, as I say. Now then, he's got this red to be lined up into the left middle as well. So Wakelin just trying to make sure he gets himself the best possible chance of coming away with something from this encounter. And of course, the best way for him to do it is to come back into the semi-final stage. Remember, he is the ranking event winner, incredibly. Something that Zhao Xington was unable to do so far this season. And he's the reigning Home Nations champion. After probably 3 unexpected ones, all coming from the Home Nation countries, with 2 of them from England. And one, well, 2 of them from England and 1 of them at the Northern Ireland at the English Open from Mark Allen, Jack Lisowski and Chris Wakelin. Probably wouldn't mean as much to Allen as it has to certainly Lisowski, but also to Wakelin. You know, there's a thing about winning the shootout in 2023, but it's a whole new level when you come across as being the dark horse in every single one of the matches that you've played, apart from maybe the semi-final against Celt. And you defeat there a rising star of Chang Minyu with such a competitive scoreline for yourself, not really for the opposition player. Now then, he's still on the charge here for the century break. He needs a colour after this red and then the yellow for him to be getting this one over the line, and not quite, unfortunately. So still, it's a really good break there, by far the highest that he's had in the entire match here. And he ultimately brings that gap down to just 2 frames now, with it being Zhao Xington 4, Chris Wakelin 2. Still something to play for in this quarterfinal before we're going to announce their third quarterfinalist, semi-finalist, I should say. And is he going to be 3 out of 3 for Team China? Meanwhile, it seems to be really close in the match of Ali Carter against Zhao Yulong. Carter has got a brilliant chance of trying to level things up there, with it being 3 frames each. And yeah, basically being a race first to 2 there. So I did actually expect Zhao Yulong to be running away with that one. Doesn't seem to be the case, but at least he's still got himself a chance to be progressing further into that match. So yeah, all about the next couple of frames here, obviously, because, you know, it's still massive advantage here in favour of Zhao Xington. Let's see if he's going to be able to convert it from the second time of asking. The odds are still going to be as low as 105 for him to be the winner. And surprising 11 for Chris Wakelin to be taking 3 frames on the bounce, which I do have to say, I mean, I get that from percentage point of view, but I would like to have seen what he was at 4-1 of a gap in favour of Zhao. So don't actually feel like, with the way that this match has gone, 11 probably doesn't really represent the way that, you know, I know it's 3 frames, and I know it's on the bounce, but it's on tonight, please. That's the tonight session. That's incredibly, but it is the tonight session here that you're going to be watching, because, you know, you basically have got the tonight session in China being played at 11 o'clock starting in the UK. And then the morning session was skipped because, I mean, as much as you can understand why Xiao Gurun against Si Xiaowei would have been interesting for some of you, but I didn't really feel like getting up at 5 o'clock for 5 days in a row would have been worth it, because I've done it twice because it was Ronnie. I'm not going to miss that. I'm probably going to do it tomorrow. Depends on who's going to be playing in the semi-finals. And, of course, you're going to have to do it for the first session of the final as well. So that is the evening session. The afternoon session has been finished. And you can see that, you know, you can afford to do that. You probably can get away with it when the match gets back underway. Some of the crowds just sleeping on the shoulders of each other. Certainly had a lot of action. But to be fair, I mean, it's been 2.5 hours since the match has started. And 6 frames for that number of... for that amount of time probably is not going to be the worst stat. Let me just try and use this break midway through this frame as a chance to get myself back on track here with the chat. Getting back on the screen will certainly help. And we'll have to go back to my phone every single time to see what the people are talking about, because that's what it's all about. You know, something that, probably the only thing that I'm going to have the upper hand on the main channel of the BBC, of the TNT and stuff, because you can ask me questions, and as long as they're reasonable, you're going to get the answer from my point of view, and that's what brings social media together. And yeah, by the way, before the frame starts and gets underway, feel free to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button on the stream. It's been a cracking match to watch, still lacking a bit of quality in some of these moments, but the fact that we did have the breaks of 84 and 91 in the last two frames, and the second mini session certainly starting in a much better spirit. But yeah, it's all going to be about tomorrow, and it is going to be Zhang Anda and Zhao already confirmed in the semi-final, so not going to be playing against each other, so it's all only playing the Worlds Only. Well, I don't think that's the case, because you know, if he was going to be playing in the Worlds Only, I wouldn't think that he was going to be going for the World Grand Prix anyway. It's a brilliant shot there, by the way, by Zhao that gets himself. I mean, he was super quick to get down and hit that raid, and yeah, guiding it nicely into the right middle. Wakelin clearly thought he had it covered. But maybe that's going to be the justification for that 105 for Zhao to be the winner of this match. Although, just to say that, you know, his ability to find chances out of nothing, and yeah, just to say, he's made it wrong for himself, trying to get position from the black onto the red. Let's see if he's going to be able to get this one in and try and stay on the black. Technically can afford to do so, but I feel like the cuts on the red is going to be impossible for it to be taken into the right corner. Semi-best of how many? First to 6. So best of 11, first to 6, standard format. Where is the World Grand Prix from? So it's the Hong Kong in China, and it's played at the Kai-Tak Arena. Kai-Tak Arena, sorry. I think it's the way to pronounce it. And well, Zhao he's going to be waiting there for the semi-final. Nearly made a mistake there. Zhao Xington is battling away with a bit of a mosquito there, maybe a fly. Don't think that we're going to be getting wasps here, as we did a couple of years ago back in Sheffield and at the Alexandra Palace as well in London. Yeah, he was basically going for the double into the left middle, and that's exactly the thing that Chris Wakelin's gone for, but Zhao Xington has missed out on his double, and anything you can do, I can do better. And that's the perfect shot there, and a really nice response from Chris Wakelin, because, you know, that's the way to get a bit of confidence in your bag. And yeah, that's basically a bit of a show-off as well, especially if he manages to get the black in. And by the way, I mean, I'm going to say this one, at 4-2, the match is still not over. As much as I'm very much on the team of Zhao Xington, I am going to be aware of what Wakelin can do when he's playing well. You know, he didn't win 8 frames on the bounce against Chang Minyu for a reason. He's been absolutely, well, I think he was 9-2. Don't think he was 9-3, I think he was 9-2 in the end. And being 2-1 down, convert that one into sort of a 9-2 of an advantage. It's just feeling like prime Real Madrid when they were 2-1 down to Rayo Vallecano, and they finished that match with 10-2 in the score sheet. And yeah, if you bring it back to the snooker, you got the perfect position lined up now for Chris Wakelin. Now gets that cue ball down the table, needs to keep running though, because that's unfortunate, but you also have to say he only has himself to blame for this one, because he had 3 reds to be lined up on, and probably more than that, but just in the area of the table that he was playing for, and he's ended up on pretty much neither of them to be perfect. You know, it's pretty much equally bad on all of them, and equally good, because he's got a red to be lined up in the yellow pocket. Could have been taken into the middle instead of the left-hand side. Now he's got the shot into the left corner, which probably is going to be the easiest one, but still has to be taken. And just slides that one in past the cushion with a minor effect. And yeah, I mean, the reason why I say 4-2 is not the end of the world is that snooker is all about momentum, and you don't have that 4-1 deficit of Zhao Xington to be overcome for a reason. The queuing of Selby was atrocious at the end of it. You know, he had, once again, Zhao Xington being himself, you know, he wasn't able to get himself lined up for a straightforward frame winning decider. So he gave a chance away to Selby. Yes, it wasn't easy, but Selby missed that red by a mile. And from the second invitation, Zhao was able to book himself into the quarterfinal. So let's see if it is going to be taken really nicely here from Wakelin. And finally, the first time that he gets the break of 70 points there. And first visit to the table resulted in taking the frame in itself. What's happening to the ITV tournaments like Matchroom, like they have done to the darts? ITV tournaments upcoming. Yeah, I think they've got the Championship League, which, I mean, as much as it's a bit of snooker to see, I would only be watching the playoffs. And also, I think it's quite weird to be having a tournament where the final is being played first to 3 frames, which is probably going to be a bit of a impact from my point of view. But I'll probably still watch it, but I just don't really feel like there's going to be... This format basically wouldn't work on it, because before you get people tuning in, the match will basically be over by that point. So maybe at some point in the future. But, you know, Selby has got that title to defend. I managed to win that one. And the Welsh, late on last year, you know, Higgins has got the World Open to try and defend after his emphatic win over Joe O'Connor. Certainly was the comeback king. And then the Tour Championship, the brilliance of, I think it was against Wilson. Not too sure. May have been against, can't remember. I don't think it was against Trump, because Trump was having a decider against Wilson in the Tour Championship. Sorry, in the Players Championship against Judd Trump. And then Wilson has gone on to win that one. But, you know, the decider that Higgins has had, I felt like he had it against someone else, but it may have been against Trump too, because I haven't got any names to think about either. For now then, back to this one. 7th frame, 25 points advantage here for Wakelin. And still a wonderful position for him to be in charge of. He's got a wonderful setup in terms of all of these reds being possible. Just needs to try and do a bit of tidy up with the 3 on the left side. I'll say on the left side, closer to the left side. And quite close to the pink spot as well. And the way that he's looking at these blue may just get him thinking about, you know, if you play it into the pink, I mean, is that not going to be the perfect shot for you? Because in 10 shots that he plays, I can't see him ever not being on the red. That's exactly what he's played. I didn't think that he was going to do it right now because of how little power he put in that shot. But in the end, getting a nice outcome. Not getting too many of those reds, but at least one more to be taken into the left corner. Who do you pick for the Welsh Open? I mean, I've got absolutely no clue. Never would have predicted Lisowski, Allen, or Wakelin to be the winners. So, yeah, I mean, whoever it's going to be, I'm going to get it horribly wrong. But I'm just going to go for someone which is going to be quite a big shock to everyone. So I'm going to say, I have to think about that one. But it's a good question, because I'm going to be thinking outside the box. So probably outside of top 10 as well. Not going to go for... Yeah, I am going to go outside the box, and I'll tell you who I'm going to pick now. The player that I really like, that has been well under the radar, Zhao. You heard it here first, and I want a bit of credit if I get it right, and probably get a bit of slack if I get it wrong, rightfully. But I am going to say Zhao, just for me wanting it to happen, but also just going for someone like you wouldn't really expect. Maybe Allen to an extent. He had a decent form coming into that tournament. And being in the semi-finals of the Wuhan Open. Getting himself to win that English Open. Certainly not about Jack Lisowski. He had a horrible form coming into that tournament at Belfast. And still came away with all the results to come his way. And then Chris Wakelin probably needs no introduction about the way that he had that win at the Scottish Open. Being the runner-up in terms of being the underdog in every single one of those encounters. But he's got an important shot now to play. Tries to hold the cue ball for one more red to be taken. He needs a red and a black combination, and he's going to be away into a 4-3 of a deficit instead. Got Players Championship, a Tour Championship Hip Hop on ITV coming. Yeah, are they? Okay, I never realised that. I suppose because I always just watch it on the simple subscription of WSTV Play. And I think Wilson or Williams for winning on Selby. I mean, Selby is a good shout, to be fair, does. Because he's done it last year, and he seems to have been rather quiet after that back-to-back triumph in the UK Championship and in the Champion of Champions, which still, to be fair, it wasn't like it was ages ago. It was right at the end of the 2025 year, and ever since we had the Masters, we had the German Masters, and then we have the World Grand Prix, which Selby, of course, is not going to be able to win. But yeah, Wakelin. He's getting himself up to the rhythm, and it's the first time that he's going to have the first invitation that will win him the frame here. So the break of 70 points to add to 91 being made in the previous frame, and I would like to see the odds now, because it's not going to be 105, I'll tell you that for free. It's 116, so still I felt like it's not quite fair. on Chris Wakelin, but he only needs 2 more frames, and he's going to be the winner and complete another brilliant comeback of the World Grand Prix. By the way, Joey London and Ali Carter are now sharing 3 frames each, so it is going to be a race first to 2 frames out there. Wakey wakey, well, we certainly managed to wake up. Whether he's going to be too late or not remains to be seen, but I wouldn't say that Williams is going to be a good shout. I don't really understand what's been going on with him ever since that Xi'an Grand Prix, because I feel like I remember he'd taken a tournament off there into the International Championship, which was understandable, and then he had a bit of illness to come after that. But Williams feels like he's probably been the worst of the class of 92. I know that Ronnie's been way below average, but tell me that what Williams has done ever since having that sort of win at the Xi'an Grand Prix, he's been dreadful. It's been absolutely dreadful. By the way, it's a break of 76 points for Chris Wakelin that gets him over the line, and he's now going to be down on just a single frame there. Zhao still has the lead, but it's probably going to be the last frame which will find himself as the favourite. He needs this one, otherwise it's going to be squeaky bomb time and decider time for Chris Wakelin to finally find himself on the receiving, and the winning ways off. Now remember, the decider they had at the Saudi Masters was the last meeting between the two of them, and Wakelin was able to win that one 6 frames to 5. Let's see if history is going to repeat itself. Williams will get 1 incredible performance in 1 or 2 tournaments, that's it. And Players' Championship 17th Feb, and Tour Championships on the 30th of March. Yes, that seems about right. That seems about right there, because Tour Championship is basically going to be the last tournament that we have before we're going to have the qualifiers for the Crucible to begin. And then it's going to be the main draw. Wakelin wins next frame, goes favourite game. Well, yes, exactly what I said. I mean, if he forced the decider, and he comes into the decider with 3 frames on the bounce. By the way, thank you for everyone tuned in once again. 360 people watching. Feel free to hit the like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. But yeah, I mean, the interesting thing about Wakelin is that as much as the maths is still going to be in favour of Zhao, because, you know, when you lose 3 frames on the bounce, you know, you're even less likely to lose 4 frames on the bounce. But the form that he's going to be taken into that frame could still play a massive aspect of that game. And John is more consistent, but he's had bad luck form in finals, sadly. He's my favourite player. Yeah, I mean, John Higgins has been probably one of the most underrated players so far this season, because he didn't win a ranking event, but he made it into the final of the Masters. He made it into the final of the International Championship, and I feel like he basically ran out of steam in every single one of those, because, you know, he had quite a tough draw in the International Championship. I felt like, you know, that comfortable win against Maguire could have done him a bit of a favour. But to be fair, Weezer had a straightforward path past Zhao as well in that semi-final, so that didn't really come away to the plan. Is Welsh Open next week? No, it's going to be a couple of weeks after that. And Kevin sends a membership. Thank you very much, Kevin. A legend of the chat there. And yeah, an absolute W there for Kevin. Thank you very much for the membership. The member itself, and now giving a membership to Harry as well. And yeah, appreciate the support to the channel, my friend. Massive help. And yeah, let's now be entertained to 1 more at least of those frames, and maybe even 2 more if it is to go the distance. And maybe another comeback coming up here of Chris Wakelin. You know, yeah, you can see the players and the fans enjoying themselves back in the crowd, but it's all about just the return of Zhao, not just to the table and to the arena, but also just you know, he's probably scored around 8 points in the meantime. That Chris Wakelin had the breaks of 91 and 84 to come with it. And you're welcome. Support the streamer. That is the perfect timing there from Streamlabs, because it's automatic. I wasn't doing anything there, but Kevin Manelli is certainly the way to support the stream, is by giving a membership out to the channel. Thank you very much for doing that. And yeah, it's all about Wakelin just trying to get himself into a good start there. Getting that cue ball from the right side of the table, diagonally across the yellow to be sent. I don't know you, but when Zhao won the Worlds, I thought he won a lot more from there. He's been a good though. I'm not confident he wins it again this year. Well, listen, the reason why I like Zhao so much is because I was the one that was saying every single match that he plays, because I remember watching the match, it might have been the last qualifying round against Elias Lesser. I was like, this kid is the most overrated player ever. And then he's going to lose out on the first couple of rounds there. By the way, he's gone for the shot into the right corner, and it looks like he's going to pay the price, unless the black is going to come to his rescue. And basically, well, might have got away with it. Yeah, and I was saying that he's the luckiest kid. He's going to have the best draw ever. And then when he played Ronnie O'Sullivan, I was obviously a die-hard Ronnie fan. And it was like, well, this is the end now. And then it was the end, but it was for Ronnie. And ever since, like, I felt like, you know, when people prove me wrong so badly in the sport, I just have a special feeling for them. And especially the way he comes across as a character, there's got no way for me not to be supportive of him and being my, by far, favourite player when it comes to second best to Ronnie. Because there's Ronnie and then there's everyone else in favour of legacy and also just the way that I take this snooker from here. But yeah, it was a brilliant campaign for him and certainly proving all the haters, me included, wrong on that one. But that's how you make it from doubters to believers. Do you think a woman will do the World Final again this year? It's a bit of a... Yes, you know he's 28. I know he's 28 there, but the reason why I say he's young is because he's lost a couple of years of his career. And he still was very much the winner of the UK Championship, I think he won, in the 2021. I don't think he won the Masters. I feel like he was his first feature in the Masters this season. Yeah, I know he's 28, but he's still a lot younger than, you know, someone like Watchalong or Zhao, and especially the likes of Mark Selby, Ronnie O'Sullivan. So he's got a lot of time to try and bring some great action to this game. And the fact that he basically wins the World Championship as an amateur status, certainly going to be a real threat for doing it back-to-back. I know the Crucible curse is on there, but, you know, he's got a nice chance to go for this red, by the way, after a bit of a misjudgment of a safety by Chris Wakelin. Qualifies women playing. Now, yeah, I'm going to answer that point in a bit. Ooh, this red is taken really nicely there by Zhao, but he may not have enough traction on the cue ball to get it close enough to the blue, and absolutely not, to be honest with you. Do you think a woman will do the World Final again this year? I mean, I don't understand what you mean again. You mean the final of the qualifying rounds? Maybe, but I feel like I haven't really seen anything that would make me feel that way, because I know that Bai Yulu has been a real player on the charge. And by the way, Zhao is really going to struggle now, because after taking such a good red, he misses the blue into the left middle, and he's probably going to be fortunate the way that he caught the yellow, basically bring the cue ball to the stop, and not leaving anything easy away to Wakelin, but he's going to be in trouble. And that's the problem with snooker. Sometimes when your opponent is back on the charge, you could be facing some real difficulties there, trying to win a frame here, especially if it's the one that will get you over the line. And Licata, by the way, looking to turn that 3-1 of a deficit versus Joey Lone against a 4-3 of an advantage. So basically doing a mini Chris Wakelin comeback of his own. Because I still think there's a massive difference in between trying to overcome a 3-1 and a 4-1 of a disadvantage. Just because of, you know, a player having one more frame to win and also having one more opportunity to try and do it. But this is going to be a mistake from Wakelin. Let's see where the cue ball is going to finish. And is he going to have the yellow as the backup? Maybe, but certainly going to give a chance away, one way or another, to Zhao. And karma if Zhao loses 4-5. Yesterday was the Selby, now Wakelin bringing it down. Zhao. Yeah, the reason why I didn't actually say it was over at 4-1, because I know Zhao pretty well. And I also know that he's capable of coming back from 4-2 down, but he's also probably capable of, you know, winning 4-0 and still losing 5-4. It's all about a rhythm and a flair player, and sometimes when he's not coming your way, especially when he hasn't got that experience under his belt, it may just be all falling apart there for him. But in the meantime, he's still going to be the favourite by a bit of a distance before the decider. But I just feel like it's going to go from a massive shift there. He's gone for the red into the right corner. Probably not the best shot for him to be taking on, especially at this point of the frame. And that gives another chance away to Wakelin here, to the left middle or also the left corner. The fact that he's going to have the pink available to him probably boosts his chances quite massively, but you know, he also has to be aware of the fact of the pink being taken into the left middle. Now he can try and guide this red into the right middle on the next shot there if he wants to try and take it into the left corner for now. And in the end, after a bit of thinking time, clearly going for the red into the left middle. Now then, He's got basically a position of a handful of reds, but he needs to try and make it past the pink and the blue here. So let's watch this space to see where the referee will put the pink back on. Because if it's going to go back on his spot, I feel like it may even do something more justice if it goes onto the brown spot. And that's the case. So I don't actually feel like Wakelin will be too mad about that one, because he frees up the black ball spot right now. And he may be putting the black onto it here, because clearly was planning to try and drop the cue ball in behind the black to be taking this one into the right corner. And, you know, for all the time, it looked like he was going to be 4 players from China. Well, right now, you have to say, Ali Carter and Chris Wakelin certainly coming alive here. Wakelin takes that black nicely into the right part of the table. So all about trying to get himself into a break of another, 76 or 91 points that we've seen in the last 2 frames. Pretty much 200 points there that he scores, with around 10 as the response from Zhao Xingtong point of view. He's going to be really rusty come that decider. And he's going to have to try and make it down to the skill, which he's got a lot of. But as we've seen with Trump when he's struggling, as we've seen with Ronnie when he's struggling, you can have all the skill that you want. But if you're not playing well, then it's all going to come down to that frame. Sometimes you may be at a slight disadvantage to come your way. And especially bring all of these factors, and you take into account that Wakelin would have been winning 3 frames on the bounce, with probably making around 250 points to 10. If he makes this break to be the frame winning one for himself, then it's going to be a real problem for Zhao Xingtong to make his way. And by the way, I mean, simple yet super effective. Didn't have to do anything with those reds, and yet he was lined up on the red clearly on purpose to try and just use it as a bit of a rail to get the cue ball on towards the black, and disturbing the reds at the same time, not sacrificing the position on the black at all. And yet he's going to have 4 more reds available to himself with the slightest of the nudges that he had. And not going to shout it too much right now, because still, we've seen those come very wrong previously. So it could probably be last man standing. Well, he could be, but no, he won't be the last man standing, because he's still have Zhang Anda from China, if that's what you mean. Or if you mean the top 10 players, then that seems to be the case, because Zhao Xingtong is going to be the last one, apart from Xiao Guodong, to be eliminated. But listen, let's just not count the chickens just yet. Don't push the horses. And, let Wakelin try and get this frame away from Zhao Xingtong, and then you're going to be able to force a 50-50 over the decider. But now he gets himself a 37 points of advantage. Gets the black to be taken into the right corner right now. So, it's still a real threat here for Chris. Because if he makes it the right way, Zhao Xingtong will have to be taking those chances earlier on there to try and basically keep Wakelin as quiet as he possibly can. But he could have done without having to breach over this red perfectly here. I mean, that's going to be very awkward in terms of his cue placement. And good news is he doesn't have to do anything with the cue ball, but I have to say, I've seen those missed, especially under pressure. As he got it, he needs the power. Yeah, he's got it, he's got it, it's fine. I don't know why I'm getting excited. As I say, I'm on team Zhao Xingtong. And as much as I wanted this match to go on quite far down, I probably wouldn't want it to be taken into the decider, because, yeah, don't really see the scenario where Zhao Xingtong is going to be able to win that frame, apart from him getting the first chance. Once again, Wakelin using all of that pocket's width to drop the black into the left corner. But in the end, if he drops, he drops, especially with the way this match has gone. And what a contrast, by the way, it is going to be to the first mini session, because we had breaks of 48 and 32, highest of the players there after the opening 4 frames, and then we had the break of 84 points, then we had 91, then we had 76, and now we've got 54 and counting here for Chris Wakelin. Makes it 61, taking the black, and you could almost forget about it, but he's not over the line for this frame just yet. By the way, thank you for everyone tuning in once again, 450 people watching. Feel free to hit the like on the stream and subscribe to the channel and join the community, which is still going to have a lot of action here at the World Grand Prix. We're going to have the semi-finals, and don't tell others about Kevin. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I've done there, Kevin. Perfect timing. It feels like very much a paid actor there, but he's been with me since, certainly since the start of the China Grand Prix. I felt like he probably has been with me since British Open and the English Open as well there, so legend of the chat. And, well, for the neutrals points, I feel like you've been treated to an absolute banger, because I did say we want to see a really competitive match. We've seen that aspect of the game. First 4 frames have been nothing to separate the players. In the end, it was a 3-1 of a gap for Zhao. He was able to extend it to a 4-1 lead, and Chris Wakelin said, all right, that's fun, you had your fun, everyone. Now I'm going to go on and turn on the beast mode. And if he was in the first and the second gear, he's gone into the 8th gear right now, because it's going to be another break of 75 plus points. And we've seen an awful lot of those in the second mini session. And once again, it is Wakelin that is running out on fumes here. Certainly not out of steam. Just try and make sure you do all the easy bits really well. Avoid those, pot success mistakes. And then you're going to be lined up with a brilliant chance of still making a century here, especially now that he got that red into the open play here. Those ITV tournaments have moved to Channel 5 from this year onwards. Yes, I feel like I've heard that. I feel like they've done it with some of the matches of the FA Cup as well. And the potentially Carabao Cup might have not been there, but on the football's point of view. But it's all about grade now at this point, and you're always going to be, forced from the broadcasting point of view to be just don't care about viewers getting a good content, and it's all about just pay the fee on everything. But unfortunately, that's the world has been going on towards now. Now, the break of 92 points, so it may need it certainly will need the last raid, as he's about to make it 94 with this yellow being taken. So, already making it the highest break of the match so far. Jeez, Zhao should lose this for clowning so much. Well, I get the points, but it's not like he's done exactly the same thing against Mark Selby yesterday. He was 4-1 down. He managed to overcome and force a decider. And yet, I've seen weirder things happen there. I've seen Tianping Fei lead by 5 frames to 1. And I can't remember the opposition player. He came back for a couple of centuries on the bounce. He wasn't one of the qualifying rounds, but that's not the point. He was from 4-1 down or 4-0 down back to 4 each. And then it didn't give the opposition player a chance and actually came back to actually witness that, all these comebacks can mean nothing if you don't execute it at the end. And still, despite that winning streak of 4 frames on the bounce, gone on to be the winner of that frame. And that's when he hurts even more. But for now, you have to give massive acknowledgement here for Chris Wakelin. Ever since that mistake from Zhao on the long raid, he never looked back, and he's always looked forward. And he had a lot to look forward to. Because, it's a good point, by the way. I've seen with the part of my eye, another decider for Zhao. I haven't seen the rest of the point, but I am going to say, when you play 2 deciders back to back, you've got less of a chance of making both of them. I'm just going to put it out there, but my prediction, I'm going to make it after Wakelin just makes this century break with him. I mean, he's enjoying himself to the best possible manner. I mean, the shot that he's just played on the blue, which was nowhere near his spot, and he's still got himself perfectly on the pink. Now just trying to get that cue ball to be down the table for the black. Didn't quite work out. But it's now going to be the break of 118 points here for Chris Wakelin. And it's all about taking the blue from behind. Is he going to fluke it? No, he won't. Now it is going to be Chris Wakelin 4, Zhao 4. And I feel like the fans have deserved it. We've deserved it. I can't wait for the 9th frame to get underway. And my prediction, I feel like I want to go Zhao simply for that. The feeling that I've got towards him. Never write him off. Doesn't seem like he's got a great record of this. Let me have a look at that, The last decider, by the way, of these two have gone the way of Chris Wakelin and Saudi Arabia Masters. And let's have a look at the last deciders. So, obviously, Zhao winning against Selby. Let's have a look at the last 3 that they've had. So, Zhao had a lot of Championship League, which I'm not going to care about. Then, lost out. So, 1 out of 2. And... 1 out of 2, and then have to take a long way. Champion of champions. So, okay, he's lost 1 out of the 3 deciders that he's played. So, 2 out of 3. Let's have a look for Wakelin then. Obviously winning 1 against Slessor. losing out against Ishbitz in Chada. And once again, Championship League just getting in the way. Still getting in the way. Still getting in the way. And yeah, didn't have to play any of those. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm taking a lot of time here. But he didn't seem to have, yeah. And then against Hawkins in the quarterfinal. So same, 2 out of 3 for each of the players. I mean, it doesn't really make my mind up, but I am going to just say for Zhao, and you know why? I'm going to do it for the hype. Because I've got no real hope in that being the case, but I just kind of have a feeling that, you know, if I go with Wakelin, I just go with the flow, and I want to go with someone that I support, but I also just want to go against the odds here slightly, because if you're going with the odds, make no mistake about it, it is Chris Wakelin's frame to lose. But I'm going to go with Zhao, so, you know, don't actually turn this around like I'm trying to satisfy both parties. It is, I'm going for Zhao, and let's see what happens. Another decider for Zhao within 24 hours. I feel like he will lose. I just answered that one. Hard break for either loser. One for not one for one up. The other not winning after. Yeah, exactly. Exactly that. And yeah, Zhao it is for me. Looking forward. And let me know who you think in the chat, by the way. Is he going to be Zhao? Is he going to be Wakelin? It's 75% for Zhao, but I mean, that poll was massively influenced by the start of the match and the 4-1. Nice to see once again acknowledgement there for the two players. Zhao needs a good start now. Otherwise, it is going to be Chris Wakelin very much back in the horse and back in the hunt for this title of the World Grand Prix. I mean, if Chris Wakelin, by the way, goes on to win this match, I mean, tell me he's not going to be the favourite for the whole tournament to be won. Champion of Champions is still on ITV next season, but that's it. Okay, that's fair enough. Now then, Chris Wakelin gets himself back to the table. The black is covered up. The pink is covered up. That's going to be an important factor for you to mention. Well, I say the pink is covered up. Maybe possible into the right middle, but it's not really going to do a lot of justice to either one of the players. I feel like the first chance and the first real call opportunity is going to be a great starting point for either one of the players, especially for Zhao. He needs it a lot more than Wakelin, because I feel like, even though it's a decider, there's so many factors that are actually going to be sort of swaying your way to be saying that this is Zhao frame to win and Wakelin's frame to lose there, because I feel like Wakelin is going to be the favourite, because I feel like, even though it's a decider, every chance that Wakelin is going to have, and it's a good chance, and you see that the position is, you know, capable of being opened up and stuff, you feel like, well, it's not really going to be expecting a mistake to come from his way, but, you know, from Zhao, he certainly will be. Now, a cross double, this looks good, and it's going to be in the pocket. Chris Wakelin turns a chance out of nowhere into something for himself, and is he going to be on the yellow? I mean, that's going to be really harsh if that is the way that Zhao is to lose the frame. You can see no reaction from his chair, but certainly not going to be happy there, because this yellow is bound to be finding the right middle. So it's the first real chance that goes the way of Wakelin, as I say. Apart from it's a decider, if it was for a 4-all draw, I mean, I'd say it's an 80% chance for him making this frame work. And, well, doesn't seem to like the reaction of the cue ball. I don't know why, really, I have to say. I don't know why he hammered that yellow into the middle, because not only did he risk of missing the yellow, but he was nowhere near getting the position of any one of these reds to be taken into the right corner. So, yeah, let's see what it's going to be now. Probably has to be a safety, but a really cheap escape there from Wakelin, especially for how well he managed to get that cross double into the right middle. So, 2 hours ago, it was looking like 4 Chinese in semis. Now could be no Chinese in the final. Yeah, it's a good way of putting that, because I'll watch the way that Carter and Zhao Yulon has been playing, because, as I say, full focus has to be on this match, because I actually do have a bit of a horse in the race here. Ooh, and my horse is going to be coming back to the table. Zhao, well, I'm going to tell you, even though it's a long shot, you're not going to get a better chance than that. The black is available. It's going to be available in both of the corner pockets. Guide this red in, and you're going to be at least presented with an opportunity, which, as much as you can ask for in a decider, is taking the red in. Now have the cue ball to bounce away from the side cushion. He's done just about that. He's still not perfectly lined up for the black, and the first couple of shots are going to be super nervous for him. Not even from the mental point of view, but just for the way he tries to push the cue in and out 5 times. And as Dennis Taylor said, and of course it's not going to be for the world champion, but it's all about just trying to win this match. He's played the blacken, which I'm still going to take as a bit of a, match fitness at this stage. He's had basically 3 frames where he's done absolutely nothing on the main table, and he's probably just managed to even the points tally of the previous 3 frames that he's played with 9 points scored. Now the black once again to be taken. Rolls it through the jaws, but he'll take anything right now. A couple of reds to be taken his way as well. And the one that he's got available into the left middle pocket, probably he's going to have to be taken very shortly, but he can get through to one more red into the left corner. So good news for Wakelin is that barring the unforced errors, there's still going to have to be some maintenance work done on the main pack of reds. But Zhao, for the time being, surely he'll have to try and make his way through. 2 more reds available to him. 21 points advantage. And still 115 at the table. Now Zhao is thinking about this one, because I know why. Because he's not perfectly straight on this red. And he would have liked to be. To avoid the cannon on the other reds with the cue ball. Just make sure you get a straightforward path for the white. And he manages to put a lot of backspin there to avoid the cannon on each and every single one of these reds. Get that cue ball to be lined up for the black to be taken. So then a bit of a backspin shot here on the white. Trying to get the cue ball onto the side cushion. Play with a bit of power. He has done so. Now needs a cannon on the reds. And yeah, he knows it straight away. Even before there was any contact made from the cue ball, he knew that he wasn't going to get anything from it. But he's still got 32 points, which is a nice boost. As long as he doesn't go for this red into the green pot. I can see in his face. He wants to go for it, but surely that's going to be way too risky for the form that Wakelin has been showing. I mean, he's looking at the red as well into the middle, but I mean, I have to say, if that red onto the left middle is on, take it. Because I know you have to bridge over another red, but you might not get a better chance than that. And the path for the pink to be played is going to be there for you as well. But whatever you do, don't take this red into the green pocket. And I feel like that's exactly what he's going to do here. And I'm just going to put it out there. I don't like the idea. The red is going to be close. He's going to be really close. And he's going to be in the pocket now. Is he on the collar? I mean, he's just about on the blue. But once again, the reason why I didn't actually feel like it was going to be worth taking on that red is because of, you're never going to be on the collar in such way that you'll get the cue ball to be lined up for 1 or 2 of these reds to be taken down the table. By the way, the 600 people watching the quarterfinal, thank you very much for everyone tuning in. And Zhao this time around is just going to be turning this one to a bit of a numbers battle. 4 frames each, 33 points for Zhao, and only 3 of those for Chris Wakelin. 2 numbers, 2 players, but so much of a difference in between Zhao being the winner and Chris Wakelin being the semi-finalist. Yesterday, Zhao was 4-1 down. One today, he was 4-1 up and lose. Yes, William, we mentioned that one before. And I actually thought that this might be the reason why he's not going to be the favourite for me to be winning this match. Because it's quite rare that you win 2 deciders back-to-back. One come in the same, basically the next day after you win the first one. And yeah, you got basically the cue ball to be lined up in behind the brown. But, I know he got 6 points out of this one. And he's probably going to be asked to be put back there, Chris Wakelin, but it's still not going to mean anything. 36 points, 99 points at the table. I mean, let's have a look at very quickly whilst we're trying to get the brown and the cue ball to be respotted. Have a look how Carter is doing. He's now 4-3 up there. Carter is on a roll there. 3 frames on the bounce and still being a real threat for it to be made 4 frames on the bounce. Now then, Wakelin's changed the approach. 2 cushion escape. Is the cue ball going to have the pace? He will. But you know what I'm thinking of right now? He's gone for a similar red into the green pocket. He's got another opportunity now. And at this stage of the frame, I do have a feeling it may actually just about be time to be trying to take those reds from the table. So this is up to Zhao here. If he takes this red, guides the cue ball onto the main pack to be protected by that green pocket. Now he's gone for it. It's the same line, and it's a perfect outcome. Now easy on the black. Well, I can't see it because of his back, but I clearly can see him shaking his hands and not happy about it. So now it's at 37 points advantage with 91 at the table. So this is one really going to be interesting to see. It gave a little nudge to the position, but you have to say, it certainly turned up in this decider. Had a couple of difficult shots to make his way. And is it time for him to be putting the one of the ball colours on the side cushion? That's what I wonder about. Maybe put the black on the side cushion as well, because he's got the way to do it. And I feel like he needs to do it. Whatever you do, just don't roll the cube in behind the black, and that's what he's done. I don't understand that. I don't understand that from Zhao, because as much as he's a high IQ player, I don't understand that at all, because surely you put the black onto the side cushion and you get yourself in a lot better of a position, because this is going to be 10 seconds of a thinking time, and Wakelin will just guide that cue ball for the left-hand side, and will leave absolutely nothing. Well, probably not happy with the way that he loved to touch and ball, but, I mean, it would have been very naive for Zhao to be hoping for that touch and ball, and still having every single one of those reds to be in open play, having the black and all the rest of the colours to be in open play as well. Maybe the blue is going to be the slight concern. And now with this touch and ball chance, is he going to get the cue ball in behind the brown? He will, which is nice. And the fact that he's forcing Chris Wakelin to try and force the cue ball onto the side cushion every single time he tries to hit those reds, it's still going to be a bonus there. Still, can't believe the support that we're getting on the stream. Thank you very much for everyone tuning in, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Yeah, I mean, this cue ball is going to be sent down the table once again. Is he going to be a touch on the pink? It won't be this time, but he may regret it there, Chris Wakelin. And he may have been better off of having that touch on the pink. I'm not sure. Zhao may be able to get through to this red into the right corner. Let's have a little listen. I know he's got a touch and ball here, but it still shouldn't be a reason for you not to be playing a red into the right corner. Now, let's see. He's going to be playing this red anyway, whether he's going to be for a safety shot or he's going to try and put it as a genuine attempt to hit this red into the right corner remains to be seen. Let's have a listen. Let's have a look. He's taken it into the corner. Has he made it? Yes, he has. And you can see and I can hear the noise there of the World Grand Prix crowd. They're certainly going to be up for it. And this is going to be another fuel potentially for Zhao, but don't count your chickens just yet. He's got 38 points of advantage. He's got the opposite of those two numbers. Very much still left out on the table. And he's going to have one more red after he takes the pink into the left corner. 44 points of an advantage now for him. So try and take this red into the left corner. Get yourself at 50 points of an advantage. Still won't be enough. And he's going to come down to the shot of the black. One black, one cue ball, 6 reds. He's got about, well, he probably needs around 2 more of them. But you feel like if he's going to be on one, he's going to be on the route for this frame to be his for the taking. It's all about the next couple of seconds. Needs to get the black in as well. And easy on the reds. He got the black in. Easy on the red into the middle. I don't feel like he is, you know. So, he's had a couple of chances now. Not going to say that they've been wasted, but I know what he's thinking about. And he's done it twice before in this frame. He's got the red lined up for the green pocket, but I just have a feeling that when you take 3 super difficult shots and you make the first 2, it's super difficult to make a 3 on the bounce. Let's have a listen. Let's have a wait. And let's have an applause for Zhao, because to make a 3 out of 3, surely is going to be the shot that takes him over the line here. Although with the match that has seen absolutely everything. Let's have another look now. He needs the cue ball to be drifting wide onto the left side cushion and back down the table. He's played the shot absolutely perfect for the yellow. And shame for Chris if not over the line. True, but I have to say it's a competitive sport. And for someone to win, you always need someone to lose. So, yeah, I mean, I probably shouldn't be that supportive of Zhao. I know I've got a massive horse in the race, but, you know, massive credit to Wakelin, if that is to be the end, which, you know, still not to be confirmed. 56 points of a gap, so Zhao needs this black to disappear, and then it is going to be game over. Yeah, unfortunately there for Wakelin, as much as I say, I'm really excited for Zhao to be in the semi-finals, but from his point of view, that is an absolute heartbreak. I always feel like it is worse for Wakelin here, because if you have a 4-1 lead and you blow it, it's on you. When you are 4-1 down and you come back all the way to be 4 frames each, especially with the way that he's done it, the breaks of 76 118 and 91 there for Chris Wakelin. I mean, take a bow. You can be very proud of your performance, but it looks like it is going to be Zhao Xingtor's story to be written, and another chapter in this World Grand Prix to be featuring a player from China, and it is going to be a good game here for Zhao Xingtor. A break of 27 points. I mean, that was probably a bit premature. I was about to say at the end of a match. Wakelin comes back to the table. He's got 4 snookers needed there for him. So, I mean, don't push the horses just yet. He's got a chance, and whenever there's a chance, there's a way. So, well, if he misses the red, I probably feel like it is going to be over. And he's going to be in bits there, Wakelin. As much as he's a really tough character, he's going to be in bits there. And, you know, that red wasn't an easy one, but, you know, I could bet all my money that he makes it one in frame 6, 7, and even 8. It's just the fact that he's clearly going to be rattled and, well, still disappointed for him to be losing this one. Well, Zhao Xingtor could have tried to pull this red over the pocket. In the end, he's tried to hammer his way through. So the match technically is still not over. Thank you for covering. I mean, it's been an absolute pleasure. I mean, as I say, I think that quarter-final decide off Wilson against Robinson was a beauty. But this one may have been a good a benchmark for it as well. And yeah, for all the support on the stream, thank you everyone for tuning in. Especially shout out to Kevin. You know, he was the one that gifted a membership to the channel. Legend of the game. But yeah, this has been certainly top 2 of the, maybe top 3. I'm not sure about that John Higgins and Watchalong match in the Masters. But certainly it has to be the runner-up to Karen Wilson and Neil Robertson. You can see the referee doing a bit of the crowd maintenance work. And yeah, managed to get over the line. So still not quite there. And Wakelin is going to have to try and find a couple of snookers next to his name. And almost 100 viewers and 100 likes. Cheers for Kevin. Oh, you can do better than that to be 100 likes. That's horrible, that is. Now, you need to do, with 900 views, you have to be doing it better than that. You know, I wouldn't ask for it, but, you know, with so many people watching, come on, we can do better. We can do better than that. And yeah, 54 points now is going to be the difference in between Chris Wakelin and 35. Still remaining here at the table. So, yeah, you can try and get this red onto the side cushion. Still needs a bit of traction there for the cue ball to be separated there. As he puts it quite close to the pink. So, yeah, I mean, the free ball is still gonna be in play there. 16 points there that he scores. So, have 1,000 listening happy. Yeah, I mean, we had the similar story at the... But that was at the final. At the International Championship at the second session. The tournaments in China, the good thing about them is that it's internationally recognized, and you know, when you have an evening session in the European, like German Masters or the M Masters itself, you know, people from the other parts of the globe are not going to be watching because it's going to be too late for them. But because it's evening in China, afternoon in Europe, you get more people to actually join in, and thank you everyone that has done so. And I mean, Kevin asking the people to hit the like button. He's genuinely a paid actor, and he doesn't even get the percentage of the revenue, which, you know, is the best thing about it for me. Thank you very much for the support. Now, back to the serious thing, though. You know, you've got the shot to be taken from 2 side cushions, but... Ooh, I mean, this is good. The reason why I was going to mention it didn't quite have a chance because I was talking about something else, is that... You know, you are going to have a very difficult shot here for Wakelin to play, but you may have the free ball to come into play for him. Let's have a look what the call is going to be made by the referee. Yes, it is going to be a free ball. So, well, Wakelin seems to have a bit of his hands in the face there. Maybe just a bit of action going on the other table, because I certainly could hear a lot of shouting being made. Nothing now. I mean, I have to say, by the way, if that is done on this table, that is the worst thing that I've seen in snooker. Because I know that I had Peter mention that one, but that is going to be the worst thing that I've ever seen in snooker if that booing is done before Chris Wakelin's taking this shot. But I feel like it probably was the reaction to table 2. So, Chris still have a chance to win. Technically, yes, because he gets a free ball chance, but it's you always have the chance there, but it's all about 1% chance, 99% hope, I would say. Didn't really play too good of a shot here in terms of getting on the pink or the black. And let's do the maths. Well, he can't be taking the safety shot. He needs to be trying to hit the pink into the corner pocket. That's what he's tried. Is he going to be able to get it? He is. So, not quite over yet. 43 points now, and he needs a ton of snooker. Well, he doesn't need a ton now. He had that free ball come away very nicely to him, and because he's got that cue ball super close to the red, he also has that red super close to the yellow. He needs 2 snookers to tie, or a snooker and a free ball for him to be back in the contention here. I mean, by the way, if Wakelin wins this match, it's not going to be the match of the season. It's not going to be the match of 2026. It's going to be the match of one of the matches of the decade. I still go back to that Zhao and Gary Wilson. I think it was semi-final for Wilson to finally win the Northern Ireland Open in 2023, and that was incredible. But this is going to be very close to it for the comeback that he had. For all of that to come in to decide where he needed around 5 or 6 snookers and came back to the table where nobody expected him to do so. You know, at least Zhao wasn't throwing his hands in the air because, you know, he just doesn't come across as that kind of a character. He takes it with, you know, just part of his game. But he makes another miss now. It looked like it was going to be a straightforward snooker. 2-cushion escape, trying to get this red onto the black ball cushion. And now, all of a sudden, it is game on. And it's only 1 snooker needed for Chris Wakelin. And no wonder Zhao, well, doesn't look like he's too concerned. But the heart rate is certainly going to be increasing there. And, well, after everything that's happened in the World Grand Prix and in this match in general, you wouldn't be surprised, would you, if it is Chris Wakelin to try and find another one of those snookers. And if we witness a respot, I mean, that's going to have Netflix stuff all over this one. And you can make a documentary out of this match alone. No chance Chris will win this. Well, usually, I'm not making the score up, but he got another snooker here on Zhao. There's an acknowledgement there from the player from China. And if this snooker is not made by Zhao, 35 points is doable. He's got the blue quite close to the side cushion. Now, it's a moment of truth. He's got this red. He's got it quite close to the pocket. It's not quite going to drop it, but he is going to be a very helping hand there for Zhao, because if Wakelin takes this red, he needs to make sure he takes it with the black. Otherwise, he'll need 2 snookers once again. Zhao is coughing, a bit sick. Well, I would be sick, I have to say. I mean, I know it's not the World Championship final and he's got the experience, but I would genuinely be sick in his place because you probably have gone beyond that point of, I've won this match now, and now you have to try and get yourself back in that mood. And from the amateur perspective, it is horrible. I can only imagine what it feels like when you're playing a professional match. Wakelin seems to be taking a lot of time, though, on this red. So, yeah, you may be just thinking about, if you can in the cue ball, from the ball cushion onto that red, make it to go onto the right side and down the table. But he seems to have thought about that idea and then just sort of said to himself, no, that's not going to work out. Let's see what he's going to try and do from here. And, yeah, basically, as I say, if he gets that snooker, so 4 points technically go his way right now. That's going to be 38 points, so 35 is the disadvantage. Apart from the blue, all the colours are on perfectly on their spots. This red can be taken with the black. Therefore, I say you have a chance of the respot. You absolutely take it in a heartbeat. And if I was to offer a handshake for that, he's absolutely going to snap my hand off for it. Have a look how the other matches do. I mean, we've got a decider and 2 of those quarterfinals. It is an incredible story at the World Grand Prix. Zhao somehow managed to come back against Ali Carter. And it is going to be 4 frames each. So what Chris still thinking about, going for the safety shot here. Trying to get that red very much down the table. And you keep reminding us with that graphic, 39 ahead, 35 remaining. You couldn't make it up, could you? But now then, this shot, which feels like it is going to be a massive for Chris Wakelin chances to try and keep that red in a competitive place. And he's not going to like the way that red is going to be heading towards the left part of the table. And you can understand why he had to take so much time, because he always felt like he was always going to leave that red diagonally across the table, although it is dead straight, and he's just seen it, and he's just, ooh, he's just done that, and he clearly knows just how difficult it's going to be there for Zhao to be taking this one. Zhao can see the funny side of it, but I tell you what, if he misses this red and he gets the cue ball into the pocket, he won't be seeing the funny side of that. Backspin, whatever you do. He's tried to take it, but yeah. I mean, it's not the worst case scenario. As long as he doesn't drop the cue ball, hits the red, and puts a bit of distance in between the white and the red, he probably takes it at this stage. As I say, the fact that it was so straight diagonally across pretty much 99% of the table there, super close to the green pocket, and quite close to the left part of the table as well. Yeah, you are going to have to try and take the cue ball, set this red down the table once again, and maybe use one of the bold colours potentially as a backup. So he's tried to take the entire line there, but I mean, the reason why you take those shots on is because you're going to have 3 colours, but you know, it's a bit of an illusion there that you may get a bit of cover there from the 3 of them, because you basically have a straight line of all of them on the bulk line. So if you get that cue ball or the red to be past that bulk line, you're not going to get anything from it. So a lot more of a fan that Zhao Xington has just done, trying to get that red to be across the brown spot, and basically forcing Wakelin to try and bounce its way from the right side cushion. Very much to try and force that red across the table and closer to the left middle. Because the problem with taking that shot on is when you take the red across to the left middle, you're always going to be sending it too close for comfort there. So, you know, you never quite can guarantee yourself that you're not going to leave it in the safe spot. Now then, the cue ball is going to be heading perfectly down the table. Is he going to be in behind the black? He will be. I mean, that is the way for you to find an escape from a snooker, and he's got Zhao Xington in the world of trouble, and I mean in the world of trouble. A 2-cushion escape probably is going to be the way for you to go for. He's going for 1 cushion. That is risky. If he misses this red, a free ball is guaranteed. And let's see if he's got it. Ooh, he's just about got it on the edge. Very nervy stuff there for Zhao Xington, and I bet he's glad he's the world champion. Because he probably has got a bit of a thing about experience. Wakelin is smiling about it because he's probably gone into that mode of his own where if I win this one, I better go to the church, because it is going to be the comeback of the world and the life for him. Why Zhao can't win? Because he's struggling, and because Wakelin is trying to find the best game ever that he's ever played, trying desperately to get into the World Grand Prix semi-final. And, yeah, I mean, whatever you do, never give up in snooker. What was he, like, he was 20 points, no, he was 19 points behind, and now he's only 4 points unsafe in terms of his position in this match right now. So, 19, well, when I say 19 points behind, he basically was 19 points before he could go on and clear up and force a respot. Now, he managed to find 15 foul points away from Zhao Xington. Of course, one of them was 7 points of a free ball. Take two more snookers. And then here you are, needing just 1 snooker. So he's taking a long time on this raid. Because Wakelin's stubborn and skip. Yeah, because Wakelin would not give up. I mean, breaking news. I mean, just because he didn't give up when he was 19 points not safe, I don't feel like there's going to be any chance for him to do the same thing when he's, 4 points unsafe. Epic frame it is. Absolutely is. And epic match there. If Wakelin wins this one, he'll head to Watching Hole. Yeah, I mean, I'm not quite aware of that place, but he'll certainly have to go to a holy place, and that will be one of the highlights of his career. So, yeah, clearly didn't feel like there was anything that he could do there with the red. So, it's a snooker, but it's one of those that you could probably make your way out with your eyes closed. Although, never quite underestimate the pressure when it can do to you. Of the bulk into the red. Yeah, I was never going to miss that one, apart from the pressure. And also, another good point there for Zhao Xington is that he puts the red and the cue ball so far away from each other, diagonally across the table. It still can't get any of these colours safe. So, let's have a... I don't really like to see that referee just trying to get the better of the crowd. And I am going to just keep an eye on that one, because... as I say, those shoutings that I've seen, which I assume would have been from the match of Ali Carter against Joey Long, but this one, hold your head on this one, because this is a red that can be taken and has been taken throughout this match before by Zhao Xington. Yeah, Wakelin's not going to be smiling about this one. He knows Zhao is capable of putting all the pressure behind him. Ooh, super close. but not quite there. And, well, is it going to be trouble for him? Once again, wealthy HK and foreigners drinking plate. Yeah, I get that. Okay, understood. The problem that Zhao Xington has got now is that they're so close in terms of the distance in between the red and the brown that you could technically try and make that red into the corner. But, ooh, I mean, he's missed the red. He was playing for the black, and it looks like he has left it over the yellow, well, basically over the pocket. Anything is missable now, but this one surely has to be taken from Zhao Xington's point of view, and he's going to be on an absolute roll. If that is the case, takes it. And the roar, an absolute roar from the crowd. GG, says Kevin. And I wouldn't say that just yet, because it's still going to be 13 points unsafe. Zhao Xington sees the funny side of it now. And, well, I mean, what do you do from here? I wouldn't say it's GG's now. Job done. No, I wouldn't say that just yet. If he gets the colouring, yes, but 13 points is still, I mean, it is for Snookers, to be fair. So it's going to be quite close to being game done, but let's see if it is going to be a handshake. I feel like Wakelin has to try and fight back now. He's got no other chance there, because after you've come so far, I mean, this is going to be triple, quadruple, sextuple Breaking Bad for Wakelin, because for him to come back from 4-1 down, and also when he was 4-0, he was out of this one. It looks like a decider. Fair play. Zhao Xington was won. He's 19 points not safe. He comes back to just needing 4 points to find on the foul shots and come on the colours positions. Basically, it's green, brown, all possible, quite close to their spots, but ooh, I was going to say you're not going to need those because the yellow was nearly potted there by Zhao Xington. Blue is the only colour of concern, quite close to the side cushion and quite close to the right middle as well. So there are chances for you to try and land the snooker, but there's not really a combination of two colours to be super close to each other. And if this yellow is going to go past the blue, it's going to be left over the middle basically. So yeah, you're not going to need colours positions from this point. Yeah, Zhao Xington seems to be cuffing a lot there. As much as I said, he was going to be sick to death after what's been happening to him in this match. The yellow for the match, and surely now he knows there's not going to be any coming back from here. Wakelin had to come back. He had to fight to his best and now just hit the green. And it is going to be a handshake. 42 points. Yeah, you're not going to be finding 5 snookers here. And he gets the green as well. I mean, I say hit the green. It's a perfect ending there for Zhao Xington. And he gets himself into the semi-final. And if there ever was a deserving performance, it's certainly going to be this one. Chris Wakelin smiling about it, but he will be absolutely devastated inside. Zhao Xington has done everything he had to do, and it's very much a deserved word of victory there next to his name. We are going to have 3 players from China in the Hong Kong World Grand Prix, and what a match, what a session, what a performance from the 2 players, and still Ali Carter and Zhao Yilong are going to be battling away there. Well, miracle no way, and surely this is the end. Well, it certainly is going to be the end. Unfortunately, this is the end of the road for Chris Wakelin. Still, only getting started from Zhao Xington's point of view. Happy Zhao, thank you all. See you all soon to all. Yes, so there's going to be a deciding point in the Zhao Yilong against Ali Carter, so we're yet to find out who's going to be the 4th one. But thank you very much for all the incredible support given throughout the stream. It's been a match to remember, certainly the runner-up in terms of the best that we've seen this season so far. And yeah, hopefully Zhao Xington will be there to give us even more entertainment, provided he's going to be in the semi-final against Xiao Godun, the 2 highest rated players left out in the draw. And let's see which one of them will be able to come out on top and play for the final. Well, Xiao Godun has been in the final before this season, and is it going to be the first time since that incredible World Championship crown of Zhao Xington, where he finally finds himself being in the last 2. Once again, thank you very much for all the support. It has been 3.5 hours since the match has started, but it's been all worth it staying up for it, whether it's late night you're watching it from, or it's the late morning and you've just woken up. I appreciate the effort and I appreciate the support. Be back with us on the semi-final tomorrow, and we'll be there for the incredible action of the World Grand Prix to deliver. Once again, thank you all, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Thanks for watching.